Yes, 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 and we're live. Listen, it's going to be a great show, man. Today, I've brought you guys some Arsenal fans. Look, listen, they've been shaken up by the draws recently. Us as Liverpool fans have been sitting back watching them. Some have been hoping that they crumble. But I brought the best two Arsenal fans I know in the business. So big up to Tereak from Tereak Talk and big up to Fran from Galazzo. Appreciate you guys taking the time out as always and jumping on the show. Obviously, my main man Savage is with me today, bro. Big up, bro. I know you had a busy day, still made the time. Respect to you, the strongest Avenger. Big up to G as well. Listen, G, I know it's been tough, but you're in the building, and I appreciate you taking the time out. Listen, guys, the agenda is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and that's what we're gonna try and chop up today. But big up to you guys. Hope you all are well. But go to Savage first, man. What are you telling me, bro? You good?
I'm all right, man. You know what I mean? Feel beautiful. Yeah, it was, nah, man, endorphin kicking and that, bro. Heart rate's coming back down now. Feel good, man. You know what I mean? It's always a good chop up football with good people, bro. Nothing to complain about. Yeah, I mean, I don't live in a war zone, so it's good.
Big up to G. What are you telling me, bro? You good?
Yeah, bro. Listen, it's 1 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning. I was eating jelly and ice cream, so life is good right now, man. I think it's good. Nah, I had to, bro. This tonsillectomy, bro. That's all I can eat. I can't eat anything else. So jelly and ice cream for me, boy. Breakfast. Feeling good.
Big up, big up. And to our two guests, big up to Tereak, man. What are you telling me, my bro?
I'm all good. Can't complain. I like the way Savage brought it in. Don't live in a war zone. You know, I got a roof over my head, so I can't complain. That's how I'm taking it. I'm looking at the positives.
Big up. And big up to Fran as well. She's big on the YouTube scene now. I've been watching her shows. They're cold. Yesterday's debate show was crazy. Big up to yourself. What are you telling me, Fran?
I'm so stressed. Yeah, no, I'm so excited to have you on. You were in the chat yesterday, just like laughing emojis and stuff while us Arsenal fans were just like going at each other. Honestly, it's a difficult time for us, but at least we're not Chelsea. At least we're not Liverpool. And
whoa.
No, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me on, and nice to meet you all.
Big up to yourself. So, guys, look, the first on the list, obviously, it's down to the Arsenal fans. You guys had I wouldn't say a tough game. I think it was in moments, but obviously you guys can discuss it based on your opinions. You guys drew 3-3 to Southampton. I'll go to Fran first with it, then jump over to Tereak. What was your initial thoughts on the game? Did you go into the game expecting to win, or did you feel, no, these guys are going to give us trouble because they're bottom of the table?
Is that a trick question?
I just asked the questions.
No, nothing was acceptable for me going into the game other than a win. No draw talk, no loss talk, because obviously we'd screwed up the 2 games before. Not screwed up, but taken 2 points from, what would it be, 6. And you know the margins are so close in this title race. So nothing except a win was going to be good enough for me, and the match went how it did. And all you need to see is that video on my channel where I did an instant reaction, and I thought I was an emotional mess. I'm still not fully recovered. I'm being very gentle with myself. Not happy, astounded, confused, in pain. Yeah.
Tereak, look, obviously we done the show. You invite me on the channel, so respect to that, and obviously Savage was on there as well. We chopped up obviously previous results. You were smiling the whole time, you were happy, but that was 3 weeks ago. Things have changed since then. You know, what was your thoughts on the 3-3?
Ultimately disappointed, given the fact that we was coming up against bottom of the league at home with, you know, a chance to react and show that we are still here and we're still to be here respected and we're not bottling it. That was the big point, because that was a lot of talking points surrounding us, is that, are Arsenal bottling in it, surrendering 2-goal leads twice to Liverpool and West Ham. Here was an opportunity to show that we could handle the pressure in that scenario. But I do think that the pressure got to us, and I guess it's a form of bottling, but how I'm looking at it is, it's not managing your he's not aware of managing your emotions. We look way too complacent at times. And if you have a look at the goals against West Ham, the first one, it's through complacency, taking too many touches in and around your area. And it's not bottling it in terms of panicking in that sense. It's like trying to show too hard that you are calm and composed when you're making wrong decisions in that scenario. Ramsdale hasn't done that all season. Look what he and does there when he has simple options. And then even the same with the third goal in that scenario. It's lack of concentration again, falling asleep in dangerous areas. And that was the one time Southampton got in there in the second half. So yeah, ultimately disappointed with the result, but it's not the same feeling that I felt towards previous Arsenal teams when, quote unquote, we have bottled it in a way, because like they did fight back in the end. If they were bottlers and they didn't have the fight and desire to go and come back and go and fight in this game, we wouldn't have come back. And ultimately, we could have even won it towards the end. But the issues are deeper than that at the moment, and I'm sure we'll get into it in the show. But yeah, ultimately disappointed 3 points at home and making it a relatively comfortable game, which that's what I really wanted.
Yeah, the stats were crazy. I think we had like 76% possession. We had like 24 attempts on goal or something. They had 6 and scored 3 of them.
Exactly.
Madness. Oh, I'm echoing. That's me. Sorry.
Is that you? No, that's all right.
Okay.
Big up to you. You guys have obviously your fans, or say subscribers in the building. So big up to Tereak's people on his side, and big up to Friends people on their side as well. Look, from our point of view, and I'll go to Savage next with it, because obviously we watched the game, and I know he was watching the game laughing and smiling at points. Savage, what was your thoughts on the game as well? Because I don't know, are you impressed with Arsenal in terms of what they've done this season, and do you think they'll win the title from a Liverpool standpoint?
First of all, that's fake news, bro. I was not laughing, bro. I wasn't laughing, bro. I was a bit shocked. I wasn't shocked that you letting goals against South. I actually put a bit on for you lot to lose, to be honest. But that was just through just a feeling. It weren't really based on logic, because logically you've been the best team this. You know what? I might change how I feel about that. When I've always said you've been the best playing team this season, but then I feel like people have kind of just discarded what Man City's been doing, because you like not new kids on the block in terms of, obviously you've got a rich history and stuff, but I mean over the last couple of years you haven't been involved in title races and such. So everyone's focus is on Arsenal doing great, while Man City's just been doing their thing, and they haven't actually been that bad at all, and they've got better and better. But I like the way you play football. It's very intense. It's very full throttle from kickoff usually, and yeah, man, I think you play really good football, but I think it just lacks a bit of composure sometimes. It lacks a bit of experience in the squad. At times when it seems that they're kind of rattled, everyone seems like boys again. They don't seem like, when I'm watching you play normally, all these young talents seem like grown men that have been doing it for ages. As soon as there's a thing, something goes wrong, rattled a little bit. Now all of a sudden I can see the age of these players and stuff like that. And I can see the lack of experience. And then the people that I expect to be more experienced in certain situations, like Partey and that, he kind of lacks emotion almost on the pitch, where he just gets the job done most of the time. He's been a little bit shaky, and I think that throws the rest of your team off. I'm not saying it's his fault, but I am impressed with the way they play football. I told everyone last season this would happen, how Arsenal's going to play this season, because it's not too dissimilar. It's just that you needed to get rid of a few players and bring a few in. And I think your star players are doing star things. It's just that the expectation for them now in one season has gone up so much that if Saka has an off game, Saka's shit. And I'm just like, or he needs to get off the pitch. And I'm like, this is crazy, bro. What him and Martinelli is doing this season is mad. Martinelli, though, great, bro. Like, he didn't stop all game in that Southampton game, bro. And he was the problem. I was saying it on stream because we were doing a live stream. I said Arsenal's going to score again, because from the first goal went in, it felt like a FIFA match. It just felt like somebody had some Martinelli Ultimate Team card and they were just running to the byline and crossing him, and you couldn't stop him. And it's kind of scary to watch that he's like that good, because I don't think he's nowhere near the finished article. He runs with his head down sometimes. He's a bit erratic sometimes, which is a compliment. If I'm saying all those things and he's that good now, Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think Man U and Barcelona should have turned it down when they had the chance. But yeah, man. In terms of the title race, forget how I feel about some Arsenal fans and that. Realistically, because I don't really care who wins. I don't think Arsenal's going to win it now. Because I thought after the Liverpool game, I said that would be the beat Liverpool. I think you'll win it for sure. Not only because of the 3 points, but I think the momentum of beating Liverpool at Anfield as well would have just spurred them up even more. But since that game, there's been 2 more draws, and it's still kind of, they're going to say it's in City's hands now because of the games, but at the same time, your points are already on the board and theirs ain't, and they've got to play FA Cup this weekend, and they've still got Champions League to play, which could have a massive effect. But I just think that game between you two, either one could win. I think that Haaland problem is a problem, though, man. I can't even lie. Just him alone is a massive problem. I think you can have a great game. You could keep it 0-0 if you wanted to, and this geezer he'll do nothing all game and pop up and score, and I think that's the difference. But yeah, I think Arsenal's been great this season, though. But yeah, it depends how Arsenal fans feel. I think they're kind of discarded the objective of getting Champions League, which you've got, and nobody care now because you've been doing so great. You should, I don't know, bask in the glory of the objective first, what you've done, and then keep moving on instead of just going straight title race this, because now that's the expectation. And when that doesn't happen, no one's even going to be looking at, at least we got top 4. They're only going to do that when they're bantering other clubs. When other clubs start saying stuff, you bottled it, you can just go, well, we got Champions League football. But deep down, you won't mean it because you wanted the title. And it's going to end, it will end trophyless, isn't it? And then it's just like, what? Nobody's going to care. But as long as Arsenal fans care, that's the main thing, I guess.
Go on. Sorry, man.
Yeah, really well said. I love hearing from other fans' perspectives and stuff. But yeah, I think the whole thing, the reason why we're feeling so or at least a lot of Arsenal fans are so upset right now is because we've been on top so long. And honestly, there's been talk between me and my friends and stuff of if we win the title, I'll meet you here in London.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing...
I know that talk, man. That's a killer, That's what I was like with the Champions League. The Champions League, what just went by, I was like, meet me at the parade because I'm going to meet you there, bro.
I've been doing the same, friend.
I'm going to just roast myself right now. But a few weeks ago, I was saying to my partner, shall I start a really detailed painting of Arsenal having won the Premier League? Because I've got to start that now if I want to be able to sell it, when we do win it. It's like a breakup. It's like you envision all these things that you're going to do together, and then suddenly it's just poof, gone.
I understand. It's so true. And what Savage is how he's kind of talking about it there, with Man City being the favourites now. Yeah, they are. All logic. Everything says, points to that with how they're playing at the moment. They are the best team in the world performing right now as we're speaking. How they're playing, the goals are scoring defensively look a lot more solid. They haven't looked like that all season because Pep's been trying to tinker around. Bernardo Silva playing left back, Rico Lewis, João Cancelo was getting the odd game or two, but now he's really found that balance and struck it with the Akanjis, Ake, Diaz, and Stones playing across there, and then having Rodri with Stones, dropping into there in the midfield, really overloading in there. So, and then playing the front, the rest of it's a front 5 with Grealish, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Haaland, and then Mahrez or Foden or whoever plays on that side. So, yeah, they really have found that balance now with Manchester City. Whereas we've lost our balance because of injuries due to Saliba. He's been probably the best centre-back in the Premier League and really taken us up to that next level, and how we're able to defend and how high we can keep our line and how we can marshal those wide areas when players are running down the channels. Our line is now literally 5 yards deeper with Rob Holding, which means we are disconnected from the midfield, and our attack and defense, there is a bigger gap, which is why I think the biggest reason where we're coming with a lot of errors is because we're losing the second balls. If you have a look at that, we're able, with how Zinchenko comes in centrally and how we position ourselves a lot, we usually minimize a lot of space and we overload in those central areas. Now, because the gaps are bigger, they are able to play it up to their striker or forward. Even if their forward doesn't win that first ball, there's a big chance of them winning the second and attacking the space. And that's exactly what Southampton did in the first half. And that's where they did get that, their second goal from having through attacking that big space that we leave in between the centre backs and the midfield now. So yeah, man, that's the switch, and that's why it was always looking at it. There's still plenty of games to go. Arsenal were the best performing team for a period, but the league's decided over 38 games. Yeah. As long as you hang in there, which is what City have done, thanks to Erling Haaland and the amount of goals that they score. Ridiculous. They've hung in there and they've peaked at this time. So yeah, man. Whereas we've struggled because of certain incidences and injuries is a factor, but it's not the only factor. It's managing these emotions, because you know what, Rob Holding should be playing at the back and we should be beating West Ham after being 2-0 up, and Rob Holding should be playing at the back and we should be beating Southampton, because Rob Holding was playing against Leeds, he was playing against Crystal Palace.
You're right,
so yeah.
You're right, because that's the same thing I said about Liverpool when when some Liverpool fans are making excuses for certain games. I'm like, bro, we should be able to beat this team with half of our team, bro. Like, let's be honest, bro. Our second string team is better than Nottingham and Leeds and all that. So when we was losing early in the season to them, I was like, bro, we beat Bournemouth 9-0 and then lost to them 1-0, bro. There's no excuse. But you get it, man. But I think Fran's right for you, that it might be the fact that you've been on top damn near the whole season, bro.
Yeah,
that's we haven't been through that apart from when we won the league. We haven't been through just being on top the whole time and someone being behind you. And I think it's a different feeling, isn't it? Especially when the players in your team are not used to leading the pack. Even if you was like second to City, but on goal difference the whole time, it makes a massive difference. We'll just chase you down. Exactly. Having City breathing on your neck is horrible, bro. It stinks, man.
Yeah. On that, I always got, so in sports like races, right? So athletics, swimming.
Yeah.
I always got my fastest times, best performances when I was just behind the leader, because you've got something to aim towards, got something to drive towards, the pressure's off. So that's where City are, and you get complacent. Imagine you're winning the race, you're not even really looking behind you. Yeah. You start to kind of relax a little bit. You're envisioning the parade. I think that's kind of what happened, and boy. Yeah.
Even linking it to last season, Fran, City have a big points gap over you 14. At one point, and then
we caught up with them, and then
that's it. When you caught up with them, that's when they went right. Now we can't be anymore, and that's when they switched into gear. So even for a Manchester City team with the amount of experience of winning that they've had, they even let up. They can't control that gap, and they drop points. They drop points against Southampton, West Ham's, and Liverpool's and stuff. So it's all about managing these periods, and that's why the hope is hanging by a thread, but it shouldn't all be lost for Arsenal fans, because the same thing what Savage said on my channel is, Arsenal, if they maintain their emotions and then don't be too emotional, then you'll be fine. I think we as the fans, we are falling right into that trap of being too emotional. You can't go from one week saying, right, if we do this, we're definitely going to win the league, to if we haven't done it, we're definitely not. Like, we're on top of the league right now. Yes, when that changes, then we still got to back and support this team for the moment that they've given us this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, the players, exactly. Yes, you can still feel disappointed. Yes, you can criticize. I've got criticisms on Mikel Arteta in the past few games, but don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the guy, and I'm happy that he's taken us to this level, and all the changes he's made in and around the club, and how we feel connected as fans when going round into the stadium, and that's what I can't take away. So and the feeling that I've got coming towards the future and the next season, when we bring in more players and increase our squad depth and certain things and improve the first 11, the future is exciting. So I don't like this do or die mentality right now from our fans.
Your last game of the season at home?
Yeah, Wolves. Yeah.
All right, there's a question.
People have paid 20k for tickets already.
We had Wolves last year.
20k? Nah, these men are crazy still.
Always Wolves, I'm not even joking. I don't know where this comes from in the Prem. They gave us Wolves last year. They gave us Wolves the 2 seasons before that when we finished second. Bruv, smells like a setup to me, bruv.
Ravi has a question for you, for Fran and T. Where do you think Arsenal need to improve, and what areas? Once you guys answer that one, then we'll move on to Arteta. What you guys think of him?
For me, it's the transfer windows, okay? Because we always seem... I love Arteta as well, right? And this chemistry that he's built and the atmosphere, the identity of the club, it's so fragile as well. And these people calling for Arteta out and stuff. You know how quick, you know how emotional our fan base is. Imagine, you know, it would just be chaos. It would be so toxic. No, he's doing an amazing job. And you know what's okay? We'll go on to Arteta in a minute. But for me, it's the transfer windows. Arteta always has a first choice player. So you've Vlahovic, Mudryk. I think he would still slap in our team, by the way. Yeah. But we always end up like going for like one level below. Trossard, amazing. I'm really happy we got him. But we've got these like second best kind of level players that haven't raised the level of the squad. They're just kind of, and the drop off from, because of these like not quite amazing transfers, like okay transfers, the drop off from our first 11 to whenever we have to sub in players, like look at your Rob Holding, Kivior, and yeah, the drop off is just too high. We've improved like attacking wise and stuff, but defense, midfield, it's still far too weak. He doesn't trust Jorginho. They brought in a player that he just doesn't want to use, even, you know. So for me, it's, yeah, the transfers. And I really want to see this summer, it comes from above, doesn't it? I want to see the hierarchy going like, here's the cash. Apparently we're like X times wealthier than Todd Bowley. Like our owners are loaded. Have you seen when they put their mind to it? Was it which ones are their team in Chicago? Is it the Rams?
LA Rams, yeah.
LA Rams,
Yeah. When they put their mind to it, they just bought like the most expensive players in the world, won the Super Bowl. They built this like incredible stadium. These are our owners over in LA, and like the stadium is insane. So when they want to, they know how to buy like the big players and get the title done. But it just seems like we're like a side piece. And the Rams are his favorite, you know, and I just want to see that winning mentality and that determination from the top. Yeah, go for the big players, go for your Jude Bellinghams, Osimhen, big boys, you know. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. But
what I will say in regards to that, because I think you're right in some areas, like when you talked about Jorginho, because if you look at the first player that we was interested in, and that was Caicedo, and obviously, like if Caicedo was in this team, it would be nowhere near as a drop off in squad depth. So I do think you're right in there. But then also I look at this in the stage that we were at. Right, we haven't been in the Champions League for many a year now, and it's been way too long. And the type of players that we've had to bring in is of a lower level, lower market. And like, let's have a look. We got Liverpool fans here. They had to build in a similar way. They had to shop in a market where they couldn't buy established players. They weren't able to do that. They had to go and buy players that were then up and coming, not even necessarily the best up and coming talent, like, because you know that would be right now your Jude Bellinghams and those guys who are highly sought after. But when they solidified themselves in the Champions League and they were able to offer that, they were able to bring in a highly sought after centre back in Virgil van Dijk, one of the most up and coming goalkeepers in the world in Alisson, and that's where Fabinho was being able to be brought in as well. He was highly sought after by Man United, who were in the Champions League at that point, and all of the top teams across the world. That's the next stage for us now. And that's where next season, when we're in there, and now people see that we are a competitive team, whether we win the title or not, that's no question that we are there to compete with the best now. That's where it'll be enticing, where we can get your sought after Declan Rice's and those players that can move the team to the next level. And definitely, in the defense, the squad depth, the drop off is far too great. It's far too great with certain areas in the defense and midfield, especially. Trossard has been our best January signing. When he came on Friday, it was phenomenal how he was just controlling the game and slowing it down and not hiding, which is what I saw from Vieira at points. He was hiding. He's not ready at this moment in time. Not to write him off completely and say he won't ever be ready. But right now in this team, he doesn't get enough minutes. He's not at the level in terms of cohesively making those runs, the right types of runs, what Arteta wants from his left eight. And that's it. We need to make sure we get players that can come in straight away and make the difference, which is what happened with Liverpool. And that's what separated. They made a Champions League final without some key players in there. Yeah. We've shown that we can compete with Man City without some key players. The next step is add those in, and that's when we can really raise it.
I completely agree. It's just I'm lacking a little bit of faith in like Edu and the Cronkies and those guys. I'm just a bit disillusioned over the years. So for me this summer, if I see that, I'm 100% on board with everything.
Yeah.
But I've just got to see from them that that's what they're aiming to do. And
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair because we haven't seen it as of yet. So yeah.
All right, then. So we'll go.
Can I just say though, I think
Go on,
you
go
might have one of the most like based opinions, and like you talk so well of like any Arsenal fan I've come across. You're my new favourite.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. So
Arsenal
much.
fan.
I really appreciate that.
You see what going for a title does.
I brought. You see, remember what
They
I'm
work
saying is, it's
together.
not about winning a title. It's about the friends you make along the way, and that's
Let's
what I like.
see if I can
What
divide you
title?
guys now. Can I divide
Exactly.
you guys now with Arteta now? So Arteta is the next topic, guys. In the comments, look, love all the comments you guys are making in there. Big up to all of you in there, and big up to Sports Carnage. Just subscribe to my channel. Appreciate it. Much love to you. Let's see if I can divide the fan base now because you guys are too happy at the moment. Arteta, look. Personally, obviously, the only other person, and the guy was talking about Arteta from last season that I know from a Liverpool standpoint is Savage. He's the only one that looked at Arteta last season and was like, this looks dangerous in terms of what he was going to do. But everyone else is like, nah, he's a dead manager. He's a dead manager. Majority of your fan base was saying this as well. Obviously, I don't know all of your fans. I know that's us. The majority, probably the 5% was out there going, nah, he's good. But majority of your fan base was saying he's not good enough. This season, obviously, have changed a lot of opinions. But since the last 3 draws, I've seen like a shift again. And I know it's the emotional thing. What's your guys' standpoint on it? But I'll get Savage in, and then obviously I'll bring the Arsenal guys in because obviously he's the only one I know spoke about Arteta beforehand. So Savage, what do you think of him first and foremost? And do you think most of the fans have been overreacting since the last 2 games?
I feel like there was overreacting when he didn't get top 4, and I feel like they're overreacting now, bro. He's a cold manager, bro. He's cold, man. Surely they got enough insight from the documentary to what he's like as a manager. I think like it was clear to see that there was things that needed to change at the club, and things behind the scenes does affect what the manager's doing on a day-to-day basis, and all he wants to do is just get on with the team. So that's what I saw from the documentary at the point. And everyone was laughing at him, and it was all fun and games and stuff like that. And all I saw was, I don't know why you're like laughing at this guy, because I see this guy putting everything he can into this club to make him better in all different aspects, on the pitch, off the pitch, behind the scenes. He's brought a culture to Arsenal what they haven't had since I was in school, bro. I'm not even joking. Like, there was nothing. There wasn't even little things, bro. Like the chanting, full stadium, the songs, the way they've got them talking. Like, they would draw or lose a game, and then it's like, listen, you know what I mean? We'll criticize what will happen on the pitch. Let's move on to the next one. It wasn't this reactive Wenger out kind of talk. I'll give him a blow, some of them, in the fact that I think it's just an emotional thing. I think saying Arteta out was crazy. Criticizing for something that is done in the game, which sometimes it was valid, and sometimes I'm just like, no, the people on the pitch just need to do what they need to do, because there's all this like, oh yeah, Arteta should have made a change and all that stuff. I get that in some games. Some games I'm like, bro, if you're already winning 2-0, how are you going to blame the manager for this, bro? You're just throwing the whole thing away. He's installed everything he needed to install in you to win a game, bro. And you were winning, and you're 2-0 up. Win the game, bro. You know what I mean? You're grown men. You can't start acting like kids all of a sudden and, you know, puff your chest out when you're winning and we're doing great stuff and we're doing the huddle after the game and stuff like that. And as soon as it goes to shit, it's Arteta's fault. Everyone's deflated. Why is he doing this? Why is he playing Saka? Because he's been your best player, bro. What do you mean? Why is he playing your best player? That's crazy to me. I think they should relax. I think if you don't win the title, there's a disappointment in not winning the title. Of course there is, bro. But then you just reflect on it and then you go, but our season was great, man. We had great moments when we didn't know whether we were going to win the title or lose. All those last-minute goals, you can't take the memory away from it now. It doesn't matter what you do. I had it with Liverpool, and I've had it loads with Liverpool because we always finish second to Man City. But every time I thought we were going to win, you can't take that memory away from me. And that's what Arteta's done. And I think, luckily, that the owners, which is kind of funny, don't listen to the fans. Because the problem with Kroenkes before is you don't listen to the fans, but I'm glad they don't now. Well, for your sake, because if they did, they might just be like, okay, we'll give Arteta another season, and if he doesn't do great, we'll kick him out. That's craziness, bro. Because all what will happen is he'll end up at Real Madrid and he'll just take over, bro. That's what will happen, bro, because I can see it. He's got so much he's learned from Pep. You can see it a mile off. different temperament to Pep, but kind of a bit of a psychopath as well.
Yeah.
Got a bit of Klopp in him as well, bro. I'm just like, this geezer just been behind Pep the whole time, studied everybody, studied the best managers, took the best parts of them and just turned it into one. And he ain't even been a manager for that long. So in
That's
3-4
the thing.
years and that, could be one of the best in the world, if not the best, bro. So yeah.
Big up. That's what I was going to say. People are using his inexperience as a huge disadvantage and saying, you know, like he's got the top job. He needs to do his time in the championship. Obviously, like all this, you know. But I see it actually as a huge positive because if he's this good, only 4 years into his managerial career, you know, in another 1 or 2, undeniably he'll just be something incredible. And he's so young as well. It's like a prodigy. Is that how you say it? Prodigy?
Yeah.
For me, like, if we were to get rid of him, as you say, someone like Real Madrid's going to grab him.
100%.
And no, I completely rate him. Did you want to finish or?
No, that's all I'd say on him because I think he's a great manager. I think time is something that everyone has a problem with nowadays. There's no patience in football. No patience in the world, to be honest. But I think they need to start to install that back in football again because otherwise, I think the Prem this season have had a turnover of like 15 managers and stuff.
Exactly.
And of all those teams that have lost their managers, all of them still can possibly be relegated. So obviously it didn't work, did it? So you might as well just try and stick with somebody, see what it can do. Because talking about Arteta doing his dues in the Championship and all that business, I mean, yeah, there would have been a point to say that before, but now he's the Arsenal manager. You've seen what he can do. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work out. Lampard did his stuff in the Championship, didn't get promoted, got a Chelsea job, got sacked, got the Everton job, got sacked, back at Chelsea, probably going to get sacked again. So it doesn't always mean anything, bro.
Yeah, it also means it's about talent as well when you look at it, because you don't look at players and every player has to go in and do a championship role, you know, do that for 46 games. No, because some players like Saka can come straight into the first team, have an impact, have a little time out where they're not doing as great like he did. Like, let's be honest, when we won the FA Cup, he was a part of that team to a certain point, and then we had to change, and then he was on the bench and he had to sit and watch and learn, and that's what he did. And look at this with Arteta. He was a highly sought after manager. Even worse, he was a player. Pep Guardiola was in contact to him and said, I wanted you to come in and be my assistant because I know how much you love this game and how much knowledge and how much impact you can have. You don't just get that job just being friend. You don't just get that job just for being friends with Pep. If you have a look at the people that have been under his tutelage, Eric Ten Hag was one of them. And look at him, how he's highly spoken of. There's plenty, and that have come up from his like tutelage in that sense.
Was as well. He's just got only promoted.
Exactly. There you go. So this is it with Arteta, and I've seen enough. I saw enough. Right. I initially when he came in, I was like, "Well, Arteta, we're getting in a manager that I've not, you know, just it seemed like it was just from a club. Like we're bringing in someone that will possibly be a yes man." But from that very first interview, how he spoke and how he was very clear and transparent with the issues at the club, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Now I need to see him implement it, and I saw implementation from the very start in how Arsenal's issue in transition over the years, literally since we entered the Emirates, was always an issue. We never got sorted. Within that first season, not even first full season, we were much better defensively in transition. How we was able to come up against some of the best teams with your Ceballos, your Mustafis and David Luiz playing at the back. Do you know what I mean? And being able to manage games in those periods. Yes, not to have the style that Arteta wants yet, but how he was getting the players to do a job. This is it with management. You can have 70%, you know, you can have all of that tactical knowledge up there in your head, but if you can't get the players to implement it in your style, and you're not a motivator and you're not someone that can make it easy for players to understand, then you're never going to succeed. And he's been able to do that, and how he's been able to get rid of literally some of our best players, our highest earning players who haven't been committed and won't, and felt like they've had more power than any manager at the club, which they had, because look at Ozil and the Emery thing. Emery didn't want Ozil. He wanted to get rid of him, but who won that battle in the end? It was Ozil, and that's he finally wrestled that power away from these top earning players, and the club trusted him. And even when it was Aubameyang, like I wouldn't have got rid of him. But listen, this is why I'm not the manager. This is why I'm not Mikel Arteta. And his ruthlessness has been able to take us into this from banter, literally 3 years ago, to this competing side now, and really transitioning the squad. And now this is only the beginning of him playing his real style of football, guys. Yes, we only see it when we have our first 11. That's an issue. But now we're going to build beyond that. And I think he's a bit like Pep in the mold, where you're not just going to see him. This is the Arsenal style that you're going to see through and through now. He will make his slight tweaks and little bit changes of difference. Like, look at the strikers that we're linked with. As you said, Fran, Dusan Vlahovic, completely different striker to a Gabriel Jesus, but he was going to use him in a different way. And Lisandro Martinez to Zinchenko, completely different in a sense. One's a midfielder, the other one's a defender, and how he's been able to use him in there. So, yeah, man, I'm really excited in the future. And yeah, Arteta definitely here for the long term, and he will move on eventually, and he will go to a top job, no doubt about that. No doubt.
Realism says like and subscribe, guys. Get those likes up and get those subscribes up for all of our channels. Big up to everyone in the comments. Big up to Jen. I see you in there. Bailey as well. I see you in there as well. And guys, I've seen the questions as well. I've starred them. I didn't want to interrupt the guys, so I will ask them those questions that you guys posted as well. So just bear with. So what do you guys have to say about those fans that are saying Arteta should be gone now? He's not good enough if he doesn't win the league.
Well, as you guys know, there's a reason why our fan base has a reputation for being just intolerable online. A lot of people are very reactive, but I think it all comes from this deep frustration that it's been 19 years, right? And so they're just impatient. We're just impatient. So as you say, it's the patience that's the issue in football. But for me, it's just wait a little bit longer, because as you said, when he came in, he literally told us fans, Arteta, that he was going to do X, Y, Z with the culture, and I want to bring the fans back together. I want to bring atmosphere back at the Emirates. And then, like, the mad part is he's gone and done it. So he made that promise, and now we're seeing it. And he also promised that within a certain amount of years, I can't remember, he would win the Champions League. And the fact that he's shown that he'll make a promise and he will go through with it and make it happen, however, tells me, like, this man, like, when he promises something, he's going to make it happen. I'm repeating myself, but you get the point.
Yeah, really.
So I can't really remember where I was going with that.
Nah, but you are right. You know, you are spot on. I think in terms of how the why we are so intolerable and why we are so emotional and reactive. It's been so long since we have had the success that we feel entitled to as Arsenal fans because of the history of our club. Whereas what I'd say to those those Arsenal fans is look at Arteta. Not the previous years. Look at what he's doing here and how you feel watching Arsenal. And I would recommend, honestly, just go, even if you can't get a ticket to the stadium, because I know it's very hard right now, go out there and fully interact with Arsenal fans and be in that emotion, because I think this is me hypothetically speaking. I'm thinking, hypothesizing, looking at Arsenal fans and saying the ones who feel like that. How often are you around other Arsenal fans in a public situation? Literally go somewhere where there is a lot of them, and you'll feel that energy and you'll feel that emotion. You'll be like, right, this is a club that I love. I went to the Emirates for the first time in years, right, for the Leicester game, the Arsenal Leicester game. I have never experienced a situation like this. When Saliba scored that own goal, I dropped my phone right out of my pocket because I dropped my phone out of my pocket because my shorts were too short. Basically, I was looking like proper old NBA style, and it dropped out of my pocket, and I missed that goal. Next thing you know, I'm in the clock end, right, and I can see where the Leicester fans are. They start cheering, but I hear the whole stadium start clapping. So I'm like, hang on, what has just happened here? And then I hear the announcer say, "Oh, it's a goal for Leicester. William Saliba on goal." I'm like, but how? I've never seen a stadium rise and clap and try and push and motivate their own players. What happened straight after that? Arsenal scored straight away. And I saw it again on Friday when they scored that early goal, the whole crowd up and trying to back their team. And this is what I'm saying. This is where it's different, guys. And that's where you can't fool the punter, as in one saying in football, because the fans, they know when something's going wrong. We don't care if it's Arsene Wenger. If we will let our emotions know. And if you are there and you're watching it and you can see how the game's being played, don't let the results fool you. I will say that. Don't let Twitter as well and other social and people who have no connection to this football club, literally apart from maybe what they've had previously at this current moment. Don't let that cloud your judgment. Just watch how with the football, the progression that we've made in these few years, it is different. Trust me, and that's coming from the heart. Because at the end of the day, that's why we love football, though, isn't it, guys? Because of how it makes us feel at times. And I feel I've got just one more thing, sorry, and then I'll let you jump in. On my phone, yeah, I've got an Arsenal banner on my wallpaper. I've not had that since I was a kid, because I never felt that connection ever before, but now it's different, man. So yeah,
I've got my boyfriend's face, and he's got Saka on his wallpaper. It's outrageous.
That's the difference.
So about the whole, what do you think of these fans saying Arteta out and stuff? What I really don't like is there's the positive fans and the negative fans, and they hate each other and they're always clashing. On my channel last night, I had a few people like Jez and that. He's like proper old school, as you know. It's explaining, but what they were doing, what was so interesting is like, sure, they're not going to try and change each other's opinion, but it was just explaining why they thought the way they did. And then like the positive people can learn something. And then they were conceding that some of the stuff that the more positive guys were saying was right. So I don't think we all have to like completely agree whether we love this manager. And I just think there shouldn't be so much like the Arteta in, Arteta out people. I always just say like, okay, so say Mikel Arteta's chicken jalfrezi. My mate will say like, no, I don't rate that. Like a biryani's way better. We could do much better. Order a biryani. Wait. And then I'll be saying like, no, like this is the best thing that's ever been created ever. Don't take it anywhere. And you know what I'm saying, okay? Because then
I get you.
I completely lost it. I felt embarrassed by my example.
No, your example was cold still.
It's just a stupid case on like, don't try and change each other's opinions and discuss the intricacies of the dish, and you all just love curry in the end. So.
But that's it. What links what I'm saying is try a chicken jalfrezi first before you make a complete judgment, and that's
this
what.
Is true.
And that's the problem that what the Arsenal fans haven't done. They haven't been there in and around, and they make a judgment without really actually understanding the depths of the situation. So yeah, and just the Angels thing right there, results matter. Yes, of course they do. And in terms of how you feel, no wins for Arsenal in 3. Yes, that's true. That's why we are feeling a little bit deflated right now and disappointed if we don't win the title. We will feel that, and I've got criticisms of Arteta in the last 3 games, but that doesn't mean that it should determine if I want this guy to be my manager or not. You know what I mean? Why would you throw the baby out the bathwater? Do you know what I mean? When there's an issue in there, that's what Arsenal fans do at times. And let's not look at it as so do or die in terms of if this don't happen, this has got to go. Do you know what I mean? You don't because there's an issue with your house. You don't. There's your kitchen's a mess. You need that decorating or something. You don't burn the whole house down. You don't scrap it. Let's get a new house.
That's the whole. That it's so black and white, and where I try and like stay is in the grey areas, like a lot of like rational fans do. That's where like the real fan base sits. It's the extremes that are the problem, but you take sides from both. And I do understand people like who say it's really not good enough if we don't win the league and Arteta out and stuff. It's not even actually like a massive discussion right now. I think some people are just saying like, well, he hasn't done well enough if we don't win the title after being 8 points clear and stuff. But so they're saying there's managers like Luis Enrique, I think, and who's the one at Real Madrid? I forgot his name.
Ancelotti.
Ancelotti and stuff, saying like if you brought him in, then you wouldn't have dropped that 8-point lead because the in-game management is so much better. But then that's very much like discounting everything else, like the harmony that's in the team. If you're bringing another manager in, it's a whole upheaval of everything that's been built, and it's just but the thing is, like, it's just interesting to talk about, and you appreciate what's going on here, what could be better, and talk about it all day.
You wouldn't win the league with Ancelotti, by the way.
Sorry?
If Ancelotti came to this Arsenal team, you wouldn't win the league. He needs certain types of players. So as much as I rate him as a manager, if anyone looks at when he's won the big stuff, man, they're the best teams in the world most of the time, bro. Like, what Arteta's doing is not the easiest job. You have to remember that you're still better than 17 other teams, 100%. And it's just Man City. It's what it is, bro. It's Man City. Like, they don't allow errors anymore, bro. In football, that's how good they are. That they cause this issue where you have to be damn near perfect. We had to be we had to blow the league away in the first however many games, just so they would stop chasing us down. We put them into a corner where Pep was like, you know what? It's not even worth it.
And that was when they was in a period of transition, weren't it? Because they were just moved from company and they were trying to transition their defenders. So that's a very good point right there.
I've got a few questions. Sorry, Fran. I've got a couple of questions for you guys, and I'll go to you first with this one, Fran, because I've started a few. So the first one was from Ravi. Big up to yourself. Question: do you think Arsenal have a mentality issue?
It's so hard to know without getting inside their head. So I mean, we can only speculate really, but I want to know or if they're doing enough, like the sports psychologists, and it's their actual job behind the scenes, I really just speculating. It looks like but I don't really buy this whole under pressure, inexperienced players, because these guys are professional athletes that have been doing their trade for over 15, sometimes 20 years each, and playing pressure games that whole time, even from under 12s, county league finals. Okay, as a sports person, if you guys have ever played team sports, there's always pressure moments, pressure games. Pressure should be something that they're completely used to. So all I'll say is, if there is a mentality issue, I think that must be something that is going on kind of behind the scenes with their support network and the staff at the club and stuff, because that shouldn't be happening. But it's hard to say. I don't know. What do you think, Tereak? It's so hard. I think that's just the only thing, that people can think of to kind of explain this drop off in form. But sometimes there's not just one answer. It's a combo of things. It might be slight nerves, but it's not just that. It's also injuries to some pivotal players. The teams coming against us are fighting relegation and things like that. The Anfield aura, just lots of different things. But there does seem to be an aspect of that.
Where I think you're right is it's not black and white. It's not a yes or a no in terms of mentality issue, because have a look at when we rocked up to Anfield and how that game was turning out. If Arsenal have a mentality, quote unquote mentality issue where we're weak, I'm sorry, we lose about 6-2 in that game. We get Man United, we get that, and we fold. We didn't fold when the tide was against us, and Liverpool were literally coming right at us in that second half. And if there's a mentality issue, even in our last game against Southampton, we lose that game. We did it last season where there was issues. There was a huge drop off when we lost certain players. We lost to Southampton, Brighton, and Crystal Palace. We lost 3 games. In this moment, we've drawn 3, which just shows you that there is a slight difference. But where I'd say is there is an element of a mentality issue is that we are too emotional. I'm looking at Jesus, right, against Southampton. From the very first minute, he's scrapping with Jan Bednarek. Calm down, relax. You're our key player.
Yeah.
And he's getting rattled by the goalkeeper, and he starts doing counting. It was funny at the time when I was watching it, when he started seconds for how long the keeper's taking. But I need him to calm down. And that's what I'm seeing, right? We need to be cool, calm, composed in these situations, which is why I really love when Trossard came on, because he didn't show any of that rattling or getting to him.
Good.
And it's our players that have brought us and taken us to the next level have been the ones who have shown little cracks in emotions. Remember when Savage was talking about in the Liverpool game after he was getting a few nudges in the back and that, and he starts walking off and starts going crazy. I'm like, Jesus, I love you to bits and you are an amazing player, but you were getting in your own head at this moment
It's
in
like
time.
Yeah.
it's like that friend that you can't take on a night out without like just something
Yeah.
chaotic happening.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, exactly.
God, he's got to get into a fight again now.
Yeah, I've got one like that. But you made me just realize, like, I don't think it's fair for anyone to say we've got a mentality issue, because this is just the last few games, basically. This whole season, I've been banging on about how amazing our mentality has been. We've been coming back from losing positions, and Saka's been scoring like these crazy pressure penalties. That's been the difference this season and why we've done so well. And staying calm and composed throughout games, finishing out games. It's just, I think the contrast from that is so jarring in the last couple of games. But these last 3 games have been an exception to the incredible strength that this team has shown so far this season. I'm not just going to change my whole opinion of it over like 2-3 games.
Yeah, I think it's the mentality thing's a bit deep with Arsenal, the top of the league, bro. So I wish we had that issue then, if that's the case. The top of the league, man. I just think that there's a case where no one's just allowing for like regular human error, bro. Like, these men are just excited, bro. That's the emotion. What it is. It doesn't always have to be this negative emotion thing. You have to learn on it. So Fran is right that the experience of being a footballer and being under pressure, you've had that your whole life, but you haven't been close to winning the Premier League your whole life. And this is like, I think what's happened is they know that City's coming up. They've known this for ages now. The fixture's been there, and as it's got closer, I don't think they've mugged off the rest of the team and thought that you're not going to give us a battle. I think they can't help but look towards Man City because everyone's just saying that's where the title's won or lost.
Yeah.
So when they're winning these games 2-0, 3-0, whatever the scoreline is, it's almost like a shutdown of this game's won now. You know what I mean? Let's get out of this game and let's move on to Man City. Not thinking that, bro, you got so much longer the game left. And then it takes one thing and you're like, oh yeah, we're not home and dry. I keep forgetting we've got the whole game. And we've got like 3 more games before City. And then that's what happens, man. They're just excited, bro. Like, a lot of the teams are young. Most of the team haven't won anything. I know, and the thing is, even with Jesus and that, I watched his interview after the game. He looked like, bro. He looked like he was crying, bro. Like his eyes were watered up, like he was gonna cry.
He always looks like that.
And I'm thinking, it's easy for everyone to say that he's got the experience of winning the Prem, and he has. But there's a caveat with Jesus, bro, and Zinchenko. These weren't Man City starters, bro. It means more to them winning the league with Arsenal than Man City. I promise you, bro. I can see it in their face, because all of a sudden, even though Jesus has got all them titles at home and that, I feel part of this one. Like, I was massive in this. Whereas before, I was a bit part guy, and I did my bit in the other game against Liverpool and that. But really, people could just say, you would have won the league without us. They won't be able to say that. If Arsenal win the league, you can't say you could win the league without Zinchenko or Jesus. So I think just allow for that. The blips happen. The thing with City that you can't count for is it's timing with City, bro. Like, it just seems like if they have their blip, it's always at the beginning of the season. And the last bit of the season, they just know how to turn it up a little bit. But I personally think that, honestly, I think both of you are going to drop points before the season's finished. That's exactly what I think's going to happen. So it's going to be interesting, bro. Might be a goal difference thing, bro. I don't know.
They're playing Brighton, who are in beautiful form.
Yep.
So you guys got them as well, don't you?
Yeah. Newcastle winning 2-0.
Yeah. Leo, big up to
2 goals in
yourself.
5 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Spurs are in the mud.
That's a mentality issue. Up on the
Spurs
part of
is a
North
mentality
London.
issue,
Yeah, that's an
What's the
issue.
score? What's the score?
2-0 in 5
2-0
minutes.
Newcastle.
No.
This is a crazy season, man.
Is there slight of a chance that that Arsenal lose out on top 4 position if there's a string of bad results?
It's impossible.
No. We ain't losing top 4.
One more, I think it's 1 more point or something, and you've got it definitely, or some rubbish like that.
Yeah. If we would have won, beat Southampton, we'd have got it. But yeah,
If you went and lost every game, bro, then you deserve to be trolled after that. That would be great.
Oh yeah.
Just went and drawn every game after that. That's mad.
Yeah.
Big up to Phil. He says Trent has gone from world class to Darwin Dibley. What do you think? What do you put this down to? I'd say the team. The team's not been performing. Obviously, he's had moments where he hasn't performed and held himself at high standards as well. But I think, we spoke about this on obviously my channel. Savage said it. I think sometimes the players get bored and sometimes that transitions into looks like they're not interested. And it's just one of those seasons. I think we looked at and we was like, we're going for the title, and then they scored again. Yeah, we looked at the title and we was like, we're at the race anyway, so there's no point of, there's nothing for us to play for. We got knocked out of the Champions League, we got knocked out all the cups. So you know what I mean. But since he's been playing in his new position, he's been good, man.
Yeah, I think.
Right, I'm using my laptop to watch the match, and I'll be on the phone.
What is the Matrix going on here, man?
2 seconds.
Yeah.
Stop.
I can't lie, but that mentality issue thing is hilarious. That question came up, and then Spurs shipped 3 goals in 9 minutes. That's crazy, bro. We've got Jacob Murphy scoring 2 goals on a hat trick. Madness. But yeah, with the Trent thing, man. Listen, leave my guy alone, man. Just know that, innit? Trent, it's not over for bro. That man are forgetting how young Trent is, bro. This geezer's got his whole career to still be a bad boy, and he's already won everything, man. Yeah. I think it can't be a coincidence that it just so happens his worst season is when everyone else is worse, bro. Exactly. It's just that you look at him as such a dynamic player in his position. That I get it. You should criticize him. It's fine, innit? But he'll be back, man. That's all I got to say about Trent. Because clearly, what me and Enz was talking about, when you grow up in a certain position and then you get brought into a different team, listen, anyone's going to take their chance. If you was a centre back and they said the only way you're going to get into the Liverpool starting lineup is in goal, you're playing goal on it because you might never make it. But it does happen that he's won everything now as a right back, and I was just like, yo, I'm bored, bro. I don't enjoy defending, bro. And everyone knows that in football, if you don't enjoy defending, then usually you can't be a good defender, bro. You just can't, bro. Because every now and again there's lapse in concentration. You start running forward, wanting to be in the game and stuff.
Yeah,
Trent will be fine, man. But criticism this season is right. He hasn't been the greatest, but he will be back, bro. And as you've seen over the last couple of games, Trent's been Trenting. You get me? So
exactly. Yeah. I have this. I'll just quickly on Trent because I have this debate all the time, and people. I've got a whole meme in a certain group chat. They call me Tereak Alexander-Arnold, literally just because of how much I back this guy, bro. He's still world class, and he's still the best. Like, you don't win this amount of trophies being Liverpool's chief creator and perform at that level, having this much responsibility at such a young age, and just be washed and just be a system player. That's what I hate when people say he's a system player, because isn't every single player out there in the world technically a system player? Because if you're going to get, the people talk about, etc. like Hazard, he won. You watch when Mourinho tried to get him tracking back for that after they won the league. How great was he then? Don't want to hear it. And look at Hazard now. Trent is still a world class at doing what he's doing. Defensively, that's an issue. But when you've given so much responsibility to go forward and be their creative outlet, I saw it in that second half. That ball barely went out to Robertson. It was all on that right side where he was creating, putting dinked balls through, created the Firmino goal. Literally. When you can get him and you're a ball-dominant team and your team's working well in transition and actually not allowing teams to get out in such open spaces where Trent is going to be attacked. I mean, unless you're Wan-Bissaka, right? And no Liverpool fan wants Wan-Bissaka with their system and how they play, but he's one who's going to be able to defend like that. There's not many that can defend in wide open spaces like that. So, and even him, did Wan-Bissaka has defensive issues? I saw it when Eddie Nketiah ran in behind him and nodded it in the back post. So, once again, man, Trent is definitely world class. And if he was in Pep's team, he'd look much better right now because defensively they're a much more organised team. He would love him. Any manager would love Trent Alexander-Arnold. I can assure you of that. And they would build their system around him.
Yeah. Let's go on to the Saka conversation now. So, obviously, looking around on social media, looking around and listening to Arsenal fans, a lot of them were just slating him, man, for missing the penalty for one. Some said he shouldn't have started the last game, but he ended up scoring the goal to obviously give you guys the points, and he assisted the Martinelli goal as well. So, but even then, there was like he shouldn't have started, he should have come off. Obviously, I don't know what you guys take, so I didn't get to really catch your conversations on him, but start with you, Fran, on that.
Can you hear me right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was actually in the party of Saka probably shouldn't. I thought he should have come off before the end of the game against West Ham because he missed that penalty, and then
his head just completely dropped. He just looked like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. He looked exhausted. He looked like he didn't want to be on the pitch. And it was kind of an emotional management thing, not through his form. Just he just looked so like devastated. And, you know, I think he could have done with coming off at the end of that game, but just purely for the like emotional standpoint. Because you can tell with their body language and things like that. But so that's what I would have liked to have seen. But Arteta knows the player way better than us. And he thought the best thing to do was take him on, then let him start against Southampton. So if he didn't think that he was like emotionally exhausted or whatever, and he made that decision, then it was the right call. But you can see an argument as to why he could have done just with a little break for City.
What's your thoughts on it, T?
Yeah, absolutely. In that West Ham game, if it was me, once again, I would have took off Bukayo Saka because of he was having a less impact. He wasn't as effective in that game, where others like Martinelli were, and they were having a real impact in certain areas. But Fran is hit the nail on the head again, because when you look at Ødegaard, right? Ødegaard gets substituted off. Arteta doesn't think twice sometimes about taking him off, and you can't take away the impact that he's had from our team. But whereas Saka, he always remains on the pitch. And this is where it's about managing your players and knowing your players psychologically, how they react to certain things. Maybe substituting Saka off of a game. We saw it with England, right? When you take him off of the pitch, it completely changes how the balance is, because of what he can do and his strengths and what he can provide into a game. Even when he's tiring, he can just be an outlet and stretching out the pitch in that sense. And I feel like, once again, that the issues where we are seeing a drop off from Saka in certain games is because it's more tactically how we're not getting the ball out to him in certain scenarios and quick enough. Rob Holding and taking too many touches on the ball because he's not as comfortable as Saliba and he can't play the one touch style. And the best way to look at it is, you know that clip, Arsenal fans will, I don't know, you may have seen it, Savage, because you're quite clued up on that. When Arsenal against Chelsea, when they was playing that one touch football out and then creating a chance for Jesus. You don't do that with Rob Holding, because he can't do that. He doesn't have the technical ability or awareness to play that one touch football. And that's where we were lacking now, in going from defense into attack and breaking through the lines. And that's where Saka, remember what we saw against Liverpool, is when you're giving it to Saka, when he's going to have someone up against him, and Robertson giving them little nudges, making it as difficult as possible. You're not getting the connections right, the connectors. Saka's going to get any fullback is going to come up against Saka, and they do that properly and have a supporting man that can win those loose balls. It's going to nullify his effect. And that's what West Ham did. Southampton couldn't do it though. And we were moving it out quicker. And that's where, overall in the performance, I weren't too mad about Southampton, because if you take away those individual moments, of those errors, it's what's 3-1, 3-0 in that sense. But those individual moments has really made me think, right, this is where we're going to have to manage these, stop making these types of mistakes, because we scored 3 goals and we was expected to score 3 goals. It was the stupidness at the other end. So there's Saka, for me, he's still been our best player this season.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that real quick? I think he also needs to know that he can be taken off. Since he's never taken off, you need to have that threat of like, Trossard's here, I can whip you off in the 60th minute, just to raise his level even more. Sure, like, he's absolutely outstanding this season. He's developed so much, like, strength-wise, like physically, he's really bulked up to add to like all the skill and game awareness that he had already. But everyone's droppable, and I think just that little threat in the back of your mind just pushes you that extra like 0.1%,
Yeah, Fran's right, man. We got that with Salah, bro. Salah never comes off the pitch, bro. He never comes off the pitch, but it doesn't matter how bad he is, he never comes. But then the times when Klopp does take him off, the next game he normally scores, bro. It's normally happens, man. So happens, man. But Saka's great, man. He's a great. I don't really have much negative about Saka at all, to be honest. I think that a lot of the time, because Martinelli is so busy all the time, bro, he gets the more plaudits and that. I actually think Saka's a better player than him, but I think the only thing I say with Saka is he's almost like too nice for football, bro. It means that if you had him in terms of doing the dark 4-0.
Jesus Christ,
bro! I just saw the ball of the season from Joe Willock.
Hey man, leave you out. Anyway, But yeah, I think if you rattle Saka in what Tereak was just saying and that, yeah, it's a problem, bro. Because he needs to, I don't know, you have to have a bit of the dark arts about you, innit? You have to pick that up as you go along with the footballer. You saw in the Euros with Chiellini throwing him around. Saw Robbo trying to kick him in the Liverpool game. Yeah, man. It's not his fault because, you know, you play football to play football, innit? But this is what happens, man. Any edge you can get on somebody, you will, bro. And managers will tell you that as well. They'll start looking at Saka and going, let's put one on him early, bro. You know what I mean? Let him know you're there. Yeah, I mean, ever since Gerrard mentioned that, when you play Villa that time, and Gerrard said like Saka's great in that, but he just needs to bulk up a bit and stop being so weak, bruv. That's just like other teams will just see it and just like, let's put one on him, see what happens, bruv. But
he's really getting there though, because Arteta's spoken about this in press conferences, and he just says like that he speaks to him saying like, this part of the game is going to happen, and you just need to get straight back up. And like, he actually takes it too well. I know what you mean, like he's too like, because he never like kicks up a fuss about it and stuff, which is amazing on one hand, but a bit more complaining wouldn't go amiss.
I have a theory about Saka though. I did say at the time, keep them Kardashians away from him, bro. And everything. I did, bruv. Ever since that video call and that, ever since I seen Kim cheering for him, all of a sudden, take him off the pitch. Don't play him. Say him, bro. That Kardashian curse, we know about it. You know what I mean?
Don't say her name.
So, Savage, over to us now, man. Look, it's Liverpool 3, Nottingham 2. From your point of view in the game, obviously we watched it. I think we dominated the game, and I think it was in moments where they created havoc. 5-0. Jesus Christ!
Now these men should leave the pitch. It'll be 3-0 if they're a ball game.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of from our point of view from the game, I think we dominated the game. It was just in the moments from set pieces or throw-ins they caused us problems. But what was your point of view from the game?
I thought we dominated the game. We gave them an out with mistakes we made. As soon as we make a mistake, and teams like Nottingham and Leeds, them kind of fan bases, give them something to cheer about, especially away when they've got a good following. It starts affecting their players because they get more up for it. And remember, they're fighting to stay in the league, and it's almost like letting them score a goal reminded them, you know what? Let's try and get something from Liverpool because we might need this point. You know, because these lot try and do this thing where they'll look at teams in their next 6 fixtures and go, we'll lose to Liverpool, lose to Man City, lose to Arsenal, but then we'll be... That's a bad mentality to have, but we should be trying to get points from all of those games. True. And I think we gave them that. But it's almost like what Tereak just said about the Arsenal-Southampton game. You just take the fact that there was these throw-ins were like free kicks, bruv, out of the game. We win that comfortably, bro, because I think they didn't do much else, you know what I mean? And we got rattled a little bit. It happens. I was just happy to see that we got over the line because there was games when we played even better than this at the beginning of the season and ended up losing 1-0 and that like that. So I'm fine with it, man. I told you I don't have this superiority complex of being a Liverpool fan that I have to smoke every small team we play against, bro. Even though I want to, and I think we're going to. If we win the game, I don't care, bro. Let's get out of there with the points. We know how this season's gone already. It's up and down. We never know what's going to happen. So at least let's take the 3 points and get out, which we did. And I'm happy about it, man. Scored some great goals as well.
Yeah. From the Arsenal standpoint, did you guys see any of the game?
I saw the goals. I didn't really catch too many of the game, but I do agree with what Savage is saying in terms of when you're watching your team and when you're conceding them sort of goals. Yeah, slight worry, but when you know you're looking at the context of the season, you know that's been your issue. So it's not really you're learning anything new from that sense. But yeah, you've just got to take into it that your attack is clicking and that it's really beginning to take shape now. And because there was way too much made of this whole Mane situation at Liverpool. Is he the reason why Liverpool have dropped off? Absolutely not. Because if people seem to forget what happened at for the first half of last season before AFCON, Mane was awful, right? And Mane, it wasn't at the level that we previously saw, and there was so much talk about him then. What do we need to do? And then when Diaz came in, he needs to start over Mane, but Mane took in that central 9 position, playing that false 9, and he returned sort of towards his best towards the end of that. So I think you've got to take real pleasure and pride in looking forward into next season, as long as the recruitment is done right and you do the certain and you get the right players in the midfields and in defense, and say, Liverpool could be bouncing back straight away as long as they can sort that. And I'm talking about, being the amount of points that we're on right now and competing with, if Arsenal are in there, if anyone else makes a rise out in there, I think you guys can be back and it can be switched that quickly with the right additions in that midfield and defense.
There you go.
That's facts.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm really sorry, but I might have to bounce because
That's all right.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say on Liverpool, and also I'm on a Spurs podcast this week, so I really need to be watching this. But I don't want to be rude because I feel like I've just talked Arsenal and then not given any input to your team.
Nah, it's all good. It's all
is that
good.
all right?
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, and like my lighting's a mess. I'm trying to go on my phone, and my boyfriend's trying to watch the match. So,
don't worry, friend. We'll get you back on. We'll get you back on another time.
I'd love that, and I'd love to bring you guys onto my channel or whatever. It would be fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed meeting you guys, especially Tereak. Yeah, Arsenal. in the pastel hoodies as well. Okay, okay, right. I'm gonna go. So Golazzo on socials. Golazzo on socials. That's my YouTube channel. That's the name of my website. Go and check it out. I'm going to do some Liverpool merch and stuff because I do I design the t-shirts from my artwork. I'm trying to I'm going to do streetwear for Liverpool, Newcastle, all of it. So I'll see you guys soon. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next week. Okay?
See you later.
See you later. Cracks me up. Big up to friends, people as well that jumped into the show as well.
Tereak, have you had Spurs fans talking shit to you since yesterday?
Oh, absolutely.
This is what I thought, man. This is what I was just literally thinking when every time I go with it, I was like, I'm sure Spurs fans would have been talking shit to Arsenal after that Southampton game. This is
100%.
They're ridiculously shameless, They drew 3-3 with Southampton themselves after being 3-1 up. So it's mad. And look at this right now. This is what I don't like about shameless football fans who are just like that and they don't take their team into consideration.
What about Klopp? Let's move on to the Klopp situation then. A lot of the fan base, no, not a lot of them. I say we were split 50-50 down the middle in terms of do we want him gone, should he stay? And there was a lot of people that did shows on it and then trying to ask the question, is he still good enough? Is it because of obviously what happened at Mainz, that 7-year duck where he doesn't know how to rebuild a team? But we've kind of, me and Savage, I would say we've always stayed open personally in terms of, look, if he's good enough, he'll stay here. We don't want him to go. But obviously, if he's going to continuously not get the best out of the squad or change it, then obviously it might be his time to move on. But look, he's turned it around. We've changed his shape. He's moved certain players. Obviously, we'll touch on that situation, Trent, as well. But he's moved certain players into different positions. He's brought in new additions into the Gakpo, Nunes, and trying to get the best out of them. And also, he's played Jota in moments where we as a fan base were like, nah, he shouldn't be playing. He hadn't scored in a year. Not me and Savage, but a few of the other people were saying we should sell him. But obviously, he's now shown that sometimes the player just needs time after a long-term injury. But I'll go to Savage first on this one, and obviously I'd ask your opinion on it, Tereak. What do you have to say about these people that wants us to get rid of Klopp and Klopp in, Klopp out? And
honestly, I don't have too much to say about it because I feel like this is every week now. It's kind of embarrassing, and my views on it. Obviously, everyone can have their own views. I think people are a bit childish with the Klopp in, Klopp out thing. If you want Klopp to move on, that's fair enough, innit? But once you've said it and it's done, what else are you supposed to do, man? Like, the owners ain't listening to you, bro. Like, just, I mean, it's one bad season, bro. And it's very bad, but, like, give the man a chance, bro. Like, this is what I mean. It just depends how you enjoy football now and how much patience you've got. If you don't have much patience, you'll want Klopp out. But, like I said, I can't, bro. It's just, like, bro, we won 2 trophies last season, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know what the new gap is within, like, winning stuff and wanting your manager out. But we're not Chelsea, bro. So, let him do let him get another season under his belt. See what's going to happen in the transfer window if they're going to invest, and then let's see what he does with the team. Then, yeah, he gets the best out of players, and then when they start having dips and forms and stuff like that, I guess the only criticism there is that his loyalty lets him wait a little bit longer than another manager would wait. But in the end, it normally pays off. So he waited with Jota, although it was just a fun thing to say that Jota ain't scored in the year. And I know it's true, but at the same time, there's very much loads of context to it. He was injured for a lot of that time. And then when he came back, it was loads of like 10-minute starts with him and Bobby. So basically, it was last season, he wasn't very good the second half, just like Salah wasn't good the second half of the season. Yeah, just give our players times. And I'm always going to back our players and give enough time. And I've done that for certain players, and for some of them, it's coming to an end. And well done for being at Liverpool. And, you know, whatever moments you did give, thanks for that. Ox, Naby, them man there, still gave me moments in certain things, innit? But I'm aware now that, like, your time's done, innit? But for Klopp, no. But don't get me wrong, man. If the season starts how it did this season, next season, and we get halfway through and it's like this, then yeah, then I'm aware logic in football, innit? They got a business to run, and the business ain't running, so they're gonna have to bring in somebody else. And I still won't want him out at the time, but I will accept it for the betterment of the club because I'm a Liverpool fan before any players or any managers. So that's kind of what I have to say with them clap out people and all that. I just don't see where it's beneficial, whether you clap in or clap out, to just turn up every day and say clap out, or it doesn't mean anything, bro. It doesn't mean anything, bro. Just support the team, innit? So that's my opinion on that.
Big up, Jack. I know you're an Arsenal fan. He says one bad season, ? He's got one Premier League in 7 years, mate. But there's context to that. We had to challenge against one of the... You guys are seeing it now, how difficult it is to kind of keep ahead of the City team, because you have to be perfect in terms of what Savage said. You have to be near to perfect, if not perfect, to win the league title against this Man City team. And you guys are finding that out. And I'm sure in years to come, you'll see it's not as easy as just winning back-to-back titles. And obviously circumstances as injuries can occur in a season where you lose your top players, maybe investment isn't there, while the other teams you're playing against or fighting against have all that hands down. They've got the players and they've also got the investment there as well. But I'll go to you next, Tereak, on that. What's your thoughts on it? Because obviously you've seen it from an outside looking in.
Yeah.
Obviously the fan base calling for Klopp to be sacked, or some are saying, nah, keep him. But what has been your thoughts this season on him?
Once again, I'm not with the whole sacking thing, like sacking Klopp after this because of what he's done for you and what I've still know that he can do. I, yes, 100% get the criticism because, yeah, yes, he does need to take some for this, you know, this drop off within Liverpool with his stubbornness and his, you know, there's also ways that I'm trying to look at it because with his stubbornness in trying to not make these changes sooner in terms of the last few games, look how Alexander-Arnold, the positions that he's been taking up, let him move inside, sensing these things and changing it quicker. Yes, he could have done that and definitely could have done so and adapted in a way quicker to his situation to try and get the best results out of it because you do have I know you have a lot of players to pick from. I know a lot of them are injury prone and you've not had them to rely on for a lot of the season, but when you look at the number of players that Liverpool have in their list, it is quite a lot in comparison to other teams. And that's where I don't think Klopp has adapted quick enough and that we have seen a bit of a fall off, but he has made that adaptation now. And because I understand why, and this is why I don't go too far with the criticism, because plan A has been so good and it's been literally bulletproof. He's not going to change it completely. And you don't want to change it too far and take away the principles because you're confusing the players then. And you want to maintain those principles so that when you do bring in the players, you know, that you need to in the summer, it's an easier transition to make. Because you don't forget, you've still got Darwin, who's still got to understand the principles of play. You don't want to make that change in terms of how Liverpool play in transition. They're very direct in that sense, and they will attack you full throttle. And then when there is a turnover in possession from Liverpool and they go from attack to defense, they win it back so quickly and they suffocate you and make you go long and then play off the second balls. You don't want to make it too different from that. So there is going to be open spaces naturally if your midfield aren't doing their jobs and aren't there quick enough or aren't sensing the danger quick enough because they're moments where they fall asleep, and that makes the biggest difference at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So for me, Klopp definitely it shouldn't be getting the criticism too much. And I hear what Jack's saying in terms of one league title in this year's, but let's not forget they have won the Champions League.
Yeah, thanks, Tereak. I was just going to say that everyone just
the double last year.
All of our other trophies don't mean anything then, just the Prem.
Do you know what I mean? Exactly. So that's I'd take that. And looking into context, how their ownership is, and and the situation with that, and how they intend to invest in the squad is completely different to Man City. And it is essentially because of how Man City operate, and it will be when Newcastle get there as well, kind of like a Farmers League, the way we talk about League One. Because it's not a coincidence that Man City have won 4 Premier Leagues in the past 5 years, and they might make it 5 and 6 because they've spent the most. They get the most sponsorships as well. Let's not forget about that. Even though they can't fill out Wembley, don't make sense to me. But so yeah, it's the game's the game, and Liverpool have done the best that they can at this moment in time, and it is literally one bad season.
It's what I just said to you though, Tereak, about Arteta, where I said like there's a thing where for me, within my own fan base and as a Liverpool fan, and no rival fans, all rival fans aside, we can look at stuff within context of our seasons. When you're having banter with someone and all of that business, I get it, because then you're just talking about logic, and logically you're gonna go the amount of trophies counting and stuff. But so as an Arsenal fan in context, if you don't win the league, you still know how your season went, and you know how great you played, and you know that you finished second. The history book should have shown you finished second and got Champions League just like Newcastle or just like Man U, and that's what we've had. So as much as I don't like being the runners up to anything, but I'm always aware that when it comes to cup games and it's a final, that swinging roundabouts in it, like you can lose or you can win. Sadly, we keep getting Real Madrid, which is pissing me off. But we've got to 3 Champions League finals, won one of them. We've won the Prem, and we've won all the other trophies. That's what the truth is. So when I say one bad season, I'm like, yeah, there was the COVID season when we didn't do much either, but literally that season, our team got injured. Like the whole team was mashed up. This season is a bad season, and the rest of them, trophies in there, bro. And we went on the right, and that's what I said to you about enjoying bits, because some fan bases haven't been to a Champions League final, bro. You ain't even got tickets to go anywhere, bro. You ain't been able to go pub with all your friends and go, oh, we might win this Champions League final today and celebrate it and that. So we got all the moments. They didn't all end great, but I bet everyone can tell you the memories leading up to that moment, brother, and how much fun you had. I love it, and I'm not trying to tell fans how to enjoy football. You can enjoy it how you want, especially the newer fans to football. They'll look at it a different way. If you know what I mean, if you're a Charles fan on that, it's like cutthroat, this, that. But let's be honest, man, that cutthroat thing seemed like it worked until Abramovich left, and now it doesn't seem like it works as much anymore, because Klopp's the longest serving manager in the Prem. Pep's the second longest serving manager in the Prem. And look at the 2 teams that they manage. And Arteta's been there longer than Ten Hag. He might be the third. I'm not even joking. He might be the third, bruv. Is this what I'm saying? And there's no coincidence that they're the better teams, bruv. So, hey, man, it is what it is, bro.
No, amigo. Okay, we'll move on to the next section. And guys, keep it respectable in the chat. I know we brought the 2 fan bases together. Can get heated, to give you respect for as much as you can. Banter is there, man. Banter each other all day long. But just be respectful as much as you can be. Yeah. Trent's new role. I'll go to you, Tereak, first. What do you think about Trent's new role, man? What's that? 4 assists in 3 games now. And I think he had 38 games and only 3 assists previously. So obviously the new role is obviously brought the best back out of him again. He looks hungry. He looks happy. He looks on it. His defensive side of his game is also, you would say, is improved, because now you're seeing him actually running back, making tackles. And even when you know, like most of the times you're like back stick, he's not there. He's now there as well. So he's got 2 jobs. He's still the right back, but he's also the one of the 6 or the double pivot, whatever way you want to put it. But it's interesting. It's interesting. It's taken us this long to kind of play him there. But at the same time, like what you said earlier, Tereak, as well, what was the reason for changing it? Because it was working. Plan A was working. So there was no need to change it. We was winning all those trophies with him at right back. So if he couldn't defend, we would never would have won a Champions League, the Premier League, FA Cup, Carling Cup, World Club. If he couldn't defend, we would never.
He was right back in every one of those games.
Exactly that.
And he was a part of it in terms of getting us across the line in most of those games. But what's your thoughts on obviously the slander he's got,
Hmm.
and your thoughts on his new role?
I want to touch on that in terms of, defensively. I'll touch on that first before we go in terms of him going forward. That
Yeah.
he's forced him to be more aggressive and be more concentrated in getting back to his position more within when the transitions do happen. And that's something that I noticed when I was watching the Leeds game with that in terms of his hand. It started, I guess, against us, really, when Xhaka rolled him up and gave him that little nudge, and he was getting way more aggressive to Martinelli in that sense. And that's what he just needs to. That's what he just needs to do. Make sure that he's switched on and that he gets as close to his left winger in the league in most games. Yes, he'll get beaten because we've spoken about this us three together as well. You are going to get beaten against these top quality wingers in the Premier League. They are. That's why Mitoma, you're going to roast a man for getting beat by Mitoma. Mitoma does that to every single fullback in the league, right?
Trust.
Especially when the spaces and the gaps have been there from what we've seen with Liverpool. This forces him inside where you can get the overload, and then in the attacking sense, my words, you're seeing the best of Trent. And this is something that I thought, right, because he played midfield throughout his whole time at the academy. I played against someone that was good friends with him when he went from West Brom to Liverpool. And they spoke about this in terms of what he can do in his passing range. And now he's in that central area. It even opens up the pitch out for him even more. In that sense, and you see them little dinked balls like the one against Leeds. My words, out of this world. Kevin De Bruyne does that. We're waxing Liverpool all day, every day. So do you know what I mean? This is where Trent is going to get the best out of him now in this area, and it just shows really the level that he's at. He can move into a different position and still have a massive impact on the game going forward. And this is where the doubters, the slander that you hear from him, guys. Yes, you enjoy watching your Gary Neville fullbacks who just defend and then do a little trot forward and try and whip in balls. That you enjoy that, but I want if I want my fullback in my team now, I want them to do what Trent does, create, because that's where the most space is being allowed. Because people are too concerned about Salah, they're going to get really tight to him. Your Liverpool come up against low blocks more than any other team, really. Man City, Arsenal now, but we didn't previously before. And Liverpool, all the top, they want to come back and sit against you. And that's where Trent is going to be at his most effective, because you can't quite do that. Because if you give Trent time and space, he'll pick out a wonder pass and he'll play it on a dime. So I think if Liverpool do, evolve into this sort of iteration where Trent is playing in there, it's going to be a problem. And teams it's not as easy as just saying, you just stick someone in on Trent and then you're going to leave Salah 1v1 with a fullback. We've seen what happened with João Cancelo every time. And we saw what he did last season. So against top. I'm telling you, man, this Liverpool, that's why I say with Trent in there, it's going to be a problem. And I don't, this is it, man. I'm worried for next season.
Big up to realism. Just before you answer, Savage, guys, you think once the game reached 5-0 before half time, the game should be stopped and points should be given straight away?
If to do it the way they do it in rugby, where the other team has to agree, then
Does that happen in rugby?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But I guess the problem is you've got then again you don't know, because you'll see when your team's down that some fans start leaving, but all of them don't leave on it. So if I pay my ticket and then you call it off, I want my money back, bro.
True.
No, if you agree, just play out the rest of the game.
What do you mean?
No. If you agree, look, 5-0 is a bit peak. Just play out the rest of the game. So whatever the result is after that, it is what it is. So at least
I still paid for a proper football match, bro. I don't want no bootleg.
I paid for 90 minutes.
Bro, it's 5-0. It's not like the other team that you paid to go and watch is going to decide. No, we're just going to continue attack. No. We're going to sit back because this could be at least 10-0. We're going to sit in and defend.
I don't know, man. I guess you are right, but there is stuff when it comes to like goal difference and that, because we've seen teams get beat up 5-0 and then they'll get 3 back and then it still stays 5-3. And them goals make a difference. Like we've seen Man U was getting punched up by Man City earlier in the season. They scored 3 in the second half. Finished 6-3, but for example, if the top 4 comes down to goal difference or third place, it could be that. But I would want my money back if that's the case, bro. They ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
This sounds like they just give up though. This Spurs game, That's ridiculous in the first 20
Getting
minutes.
played
of how
off
many
the
goals we scored.
park, man.
Big up to Southpaw. He says Trent will never make England's team as a right midfield. Never. This isn't 2006. But over to you, Savage. Trent's new role, slander he's been receiving. What's your thoughts, bro?
My biggest problem was the personal slander with Trent. If you stand him on the pitch, criticize him for what he's done or not doing, I'm okay with that. As long as you keep it respectful, because there's been times where it's needed to be said. You know what I mean? If we're going to analyze games, we can't have, you know what I mean, where we don't do it just because we like him. But we know that all the other stuff, speaking about his attitude and his hair and all this bullshit, I'm just like, bro, how have you been able to tell his attitude by looking at his face, bro? Like, if that's the case, then Martial and Berbatov had attitude their whole career, bruv, because Martial never looks happy ever, bruv.
Even when he scores, he's still there.
So I'm just like, that's not a fair thing to say, bruv, at all. You know what I mean? Everyone turned into body language experts, I guess. But nah, man, I think when he switches off, I'm not happy with that. That's my biggest problem with Trent. That was my biggest problem earlier in the season and last season. I just don't like when he switches off or he gets too comfortable in the fact that one of the other players on our team is going to be there to do something. But all of them have that in them. It's just that Trent is used so much as an outlet that when you run back after doing all the outlet business, it's not even about having a breather. You just kind of want to, like, let me get composed and back in my spot. But against these Prem teams, they don't give you no time to do that. At least now with Konate covering that area, he does get to do it a little bit more, and then he's better defensively. Before, Hendo had more legs last season than he did this season. And before that, the year before, he had even more legs, which was why Trent was so great, because they both had that understanding that you go, I'll cover this area. Now he can't keep up as much. So the new role does benefit him. I understand why Klopp done it. I understand also why fans will get disappointed, or, you know, why you take so long, and everyone thinks they can manage better than Klopp now. But sometimes it's just like, I'm going to give it the time I think it needs to give it, because now I can go 100%. This right back thing ain't working no more. So now I'm going to change it, innit? And he's done it this season. And I don't think Klopp changing Trent to midfield earlier in the season, we would be in a different position. I think we'd be in the same spot. I'm not even joking, because all the other stuff in the team were going wrong as well. Things with Robbo were going wrong. Things with Virgil was going wrong. With Matip was going wrong. With Hendo, with Fab was going wrong. Salah, Nunes, the whole team. So apart from Alisson. And also, it looks like Trent's season's worse than whatever, because he set the bar so high. I think he's on 50 assists now for Liverpool, isn't it? Which is crazy. He's 24, and he's a right back. But
51 now from his
51. But everyone wants to just act like that never happened, and I think Robbo's even got more than that, bruv. But you know what I mean. Just did some of the shit. But if you look at our striking this season and our front three and that, Trent should be on about 20 assists already anyway, bruv. They've missed their chances, bro. Like, I know that you don't get an award for like you having an assist and somebody missing, but there's context, bro. Even if you look at the big chances created in the Prem, there's De Bruyne. I can't remember the second person. And then it's Trent, and he's still a right back, bro. Which means the man them up top him and putting the ball in the back of the net, and it's clear to see, because it's Salah's worst season, even though he's scored bare goals still.
Yeah.
Jota was injured and only just come back. Nunes has scored goals, but ain't scored loads of goals. Yeah, I mean, Diaz has been injured, so he hasn't scored loads of goals either. And Bobby scored goals and then got injured. So if all of them were fit all season, then he would have more assists. You think it's coincidence that they're all back fit now and then he's getting assists again and playing great? Because the movement's better, everyone's feeling a little bit better, bruv. I think Klopp was reluctant to change this while we had an injured team. It wouldn't have made sense. Who was going at right? Can somebody answer me who was going at right back? Because Ramsey had shin surgery. Nobody wants Milner to play. I do, but everyone's got a problem with him. So I'm saying, who's playing there then? Someone tell me, because everyone had a problem with Joe Gomez as well. So let's not pretend that you weren't putting up weird memes of him, even Liverpool fans. So that's what I'm saying, man. But
do you know what? Wait, there's something that you said in there which I totally agree on, and I can relate it back to Arsenal. We see there wouldn't be much of a difference if Trent was playing there earlier, because Konate wasn't fit and firing throughout most of the season.
Exactly.
Look at Arsenal now and Zinchenko, who plays that central area without Saliba there, where our defense is a lot deeper And there is a bigger gap between the midfield and the defense. What I was mentioning earlier, right, is Zinchenko's defensive weaknesses will get exposed. His natural ability is because he's not a natural defender, which is the same for Trent there. And this is where Zinchenko's concentration's lacking because the team is not as compact anymore. And that's where, you know, he's not he's not someone who's going to defend in big spaces. Neither is Trent. That's not what you want from him. And you are losing his effectiveness out of the ball because of that. So you can only play because Saliba and Konate, how they defend in those wide areas and those channels is brilliant because of the athleticism and how they read the game and how they can shift the player. All right, you try and go on the outside, you try and do that. I'll come in and I'll make the tackle, and I'm much stronger than you and I'm bigger than you. So it does give you that intimidating factor. And if Liverpool, you know, Liverpool back to their best, they're going to need their right-sided centre-back to be Konate or, you know, and stay fit throughout the majority of the season. That's all I've got to say about Ibu, because quality-wise, there's no doubt about him and how good he is and what he is. Like, France are blessed to have him and Saliba as their centre-backs, as the upcoming ones in that right channel there. So, my words, if he can stay fit, you will see the best of Trent again, whether he's in that central position or back in that right back role.
Agreed.
Cool. Right, Jota, and then we'll move on to that combined 11. So for the man them that said we should have sold Jota and we should accept the bids and whatever, you man are crazy. And I'm waiting to see when you guys do your player rating shows because I'll be in the comments cooking you guys. I'm just letting you know from now that we should sell him. You guys, bro, the guy scored 4 goals in 2 games now. He's now looking like he's back. He looks sharp again. He looks fit. Klopp had the right idea. Play him into form.
Yeah, he did.
Sometimes you have to do that with players. They're only going to gain form or gain confidence by playing games of football. And that's what Klopp's kind of done. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to see the next game. And he's normally the difference maker. He tends to score. He's been here, 2 years now? I think this might be his 3rd season. And in those seasons, he scored 20+ goals. And he's not been playing as a normal striker. He's played in multiple different positions, right side, left side. He has played up front at times. But he's never had the run of games where he's like, I'm the main striker now. I'm going to play through the middle throughout the whole season. And he's getting 20 goals from the left-hand side. So I think people just have to respect it. And fan base, that was a shocking thing to say about selling him, bro. Oh yeah, if we get the money. And look, I'll side with some of you because I think some of you went down the side of maybe because of the way the owners are, and you know, we have to recruit, sell to buy kind of thing. I think some of the fan base was looking at it that way, but some were just like selling because he hadn't scored goals.
Yeah, I think
yeah, man.
I don't side with them people who said that because it all came out at the same time, which means why did you even have that conversation about Jota? You weren't nothing to do with no money, bro. These men are punks, bro. Hey, listen, it's what it is, man. If you don't want no loyalty in football, I understand, bro. That's your thing, innit? Do the American thing, bro, and you know, jump from Lakers to Chicago and all that business, bro. If you want to do that, man. But this is Prem football, bro, and it don't work like that for me, man. If man put all that effort in for Liverpool and done great stuff for us already, you know what I mean, helped us on the way to trophies, league cups and stuff like that. And then I'm just supposed to turn my back on him because the man gets injured, bro. And then he come back, him and Bobby, me and Enz made videos about this constantly, bro, because we knew what was going to happen. Klopp brought him on for 5 minutes in one game, then it was 10 minutes the next game. Game after that was 15, then it was 20. Then he played one of them from the start. And then we, in between that, we were playing good and bad, bro. So, you get me? Even asked Klopp at the time, and he was like, nah, Bobby and Jota looked a bit rusty. They got to get back into form and stuff. Give him enough time, and then there you have it, bro. You know what I mean? This wasn't a season when we were going for the league in that, bro. Well, we started the season with wanting to go for the league, but when Jota's come back from injury, we weren't going for the league. So, you know what I mean? There weren't that much pressure. Like, just go and play football, bro. You know what I mean? I think you buy yourself a bit of time for certain things if you do stuff for the team, man. And I can't be out here celebrating Jota's goals and doing all these great things, and then all of a sudden just want him out the squad. I think it's a little bit weird personally, but it's all opinions. And like I said, the year not scoring business. I'm just aware now in the world that we live in, everything's agendas, and if one person puts it on Twitter somewhere or some account puts it, everyone sees it and then goes, I'm going to be the first to say it on stream. And then everyone ends up saying it. It can't be a coincidence everyone on the same day was like, I think we should sell Jota because you saw a journalist say that Newcastle looking at him. So that means you didn't even wake up thinking we should sell him. You saw a journalist saying, so I've been thinking lately, think we should sell Jota. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. All you had on your thumbnail on the exact same day, bruv. So, bit weird to me, but hey, man, listen. I hope you have to look at yourself in the mirror when he scores them goals, and while you're celebrating, man in the mirror, Michael Jackson settings, bruv. You get me?
Exactly.
What's your thoughts, Tereak, on it?
It goes back to throwing the baby out with the bathwater. When there's issues that have been there at Liverpool, it's been clear to see with the midfield. And Jota, yes, he's not been performing at his best, but better take into consideration the injuries that he's been suffering of late. It's hard to be at your best form and at your prime best when you're coming back from injury with how the intensity of this Liverpool team that's required and the intensity of just the Premier League full stop to be back fit and sharp. I saw the same thing, and I can relate it back to Arsenal because the same thing happened with Martinelli when he had that knee injury, where he had to have that arthroscopic surgery in that knee, and he wasn't quite performing at the level. Arteta hates him. Martinelli's not that good. Let's get rid of him. The same thing is kind of happening now with the Emile Smith role, right? Because he's been having this groin injury which he's had for his whole career and his whole life, which he only just got surgery on this season, which they tried to prevent it as much as possible. It's going to take him a good time to try and get back up to it. And he was scoring plenty of goals last season, and he was, one of our best players by a mile. And now it's like, because he can't get a game, and because Arteta's trying to take his time with him and trying to take that pressure away. Because the difference is what you said there, Savage, is you could afford to let Jota play because you weren't competing for a title. Exactly. We can't afford to put him under that scrutiny because we are competing for a title. That's the reason why. If we were, where we were last season and just trying to get into the top four, I'm sure you would have get him out. Let's sort out the issues and try and get him back fit, ready and playing. But because there's so much at stake, we can't afford to do that. So that's the same thing with Jota, man. Like the guy, when he was at Wolves, he was a streaky goal scorer anyway throughout that whole time. Trust me, like I had my brother-in-law watching him all the time, and he was saying Jota, when he scores a goal, as soon as he scores, that's it, he's finished. He scores hat tricks and does them things, and he should have got one yesterday, in fact. But with Jota, he's a dangerous. As an Arsenal fan, I've seen what he can do to me when he's spitting firing. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to go through this all over again because I saw it when he was at Wolves and I seen it every time when he's at Liverpool. Trust me, that your attack, you don't need. I don't think you need to do anything. Don't in terms of getting rid of players. In terms of that, what Firmino's leaving already. Would you get a replacement for him, or would you just? I
wouldn't.
Let Jota take the reins there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. By the way, when you fans are talking about Salad Martinelli, I was hoping, bro, that you. Because I remember, after one game, Klopp bigged him up and that, and everyone was losing them. I like Klopp once. I'm like, bro, they are never gonna sell Martinelli to Klopp, bro. But he's cold, bro. Bro, I don't understand how he can run so much, bro.
Running
against Liverpool. That his legs were damn near falling off towards the end of the game, and he still made a run down the whole length of the pitch. Yeah. Southampton, if he didn't play against Southampton, you're not winning that. You're not drawing that game. Bro, he's cold, bro. Him and Odegaard. God damn it, man.
Yeah. Hey, Ads. I think he's saying we don't need one as well. I think Harvey, in my opinion, should be his deputy.
Imagine trying to sign someone to cover Salah. It's like, listen, when I sign you, you're probably going to get 2 games a season. But
that's the Saka thing. That's the Saka situation with us. Like, how are you going to sign someone? Because Salah never gets injured either. It's easy to sign someone there if they get injured because it's like, right, now you can compete and you definitely will get games because he can't manage the load. Salah is one of the fittest footballers in terms of continuing to play on the planet. The amount of games he's played for Egypt, the amount of games he's played for Liverpool, and he still barely breaks down. It's mad.
Do you know in Europe there's only 3 men above him in terms of GA, and it's Haaland, Messi, and Mbappe. That's it.
That's crazy, man. On his
and
bad season,
no one else is above him.
just broke foul. Well, he's on level with Fowler's record now. 6 all-time Liverpool. Beat Gerrard's finger now, and actually,
he's beating Gerrard.
See what I'm saying, bro? This is crazy, bro. Like this kid is gold, bro.
All right, come to the last bit of the show, then, boys. Here we go. Let's get it done, bro. So, combined 11. So we're gonna combine the Arsenal team and the Liverpool team based on the weekend's games gone, and then we'll just chuck in a player rating for the player, while we pick the player as well. So obviously we're in the goalkeeper situation.
I didn't even watch Liverpool, but Alisson all day long.
No, we want
Ramsdale.
Arsenal, so we know.
Bro, Ramsdale was horrendous for 45 minutes. Right, shocking. I'd never that it was out of character, which is when we talk about pressure and how it seems to have affected him there. He was disgustingly bad. He was making mistake after mistake. But yeah, Alisson. What was he like in your game? Did he any fault for any of the goal? Like, would you say?
Two deflection.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Yeah, the second goal I saw a Gibbs White one there.
Yeah, deflection, both deflections. Obviously Savage and the guys on the panel last night were pointing out like he caught, and that's the thing, because sometimes I knock him. I think I've given him a low rate in the last 2 games, but that's because he makes everything look so easy. Yeah, it's an easy game. Didn't really have much to do, but look back at the game, bro. You had to catch a couple, parry a couple around the corner, but he makes it look so easy. I'm like, oh, no, he should do that. But when I watch other goalkeepers, they're just struggling to get there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that thingy, isn't it?
Oh, is it that alert?
What alert?
Yeah.
Is it the alert?
Yeah, is
that government sending out alert? And I ain't got mine though.
Yeah, my phone's on do not disturb. That's why I ain't got mine.
You see the panic in ENDZ face, bro? Man said the
No, I'm just reading. I'm like, what kind of bomb alert is this, bro?
Yeah, he's doing some test. Is it a test? Is it?
Yeah, it's a test one.
The only thing is, bro, I saw this in that thingy, that Greenland movie or whatever. The Gerard,
bro. No, listen, that's where my brain went.
That's why it ends his face,
bro. That's what my brain went to. My brain was like, "Let me just read. We got an asteroid coming, or what's going on?"
Bro, they're getting ready for the purge, man. I'm telling you,
bro. That's the sound it made as well, bro.
Yeah,
all of those movies went through my head. Greenland, purge. I'm like, nah.
It's a good thing we're all indoors, man. Then it's a good thing.
We're good. We're good. Check the skies. No, we're all right. Looks good. People. Bailey said Alisson as well. Kay said Alisson. All right, left back.
Liverpool player again.
Do you know what? Robbo made a mistake. No, I didn't say it's a mistake. He did. Some of the fans were saying he should have got out closer to Nico Williams.
Oh, for the shot.
I think we overloaded too many players on the right hand side.
We did.
Which then caused them to have that. So, and then he got the assist. He got an assist, didn't he? So yeah. Robbo.
Zinchenko at fault for the 3rd goal for me, falling asleep at the back post. People were trying to have a go at the setup in terms of that. Why is Zinchenko up against Chaleta there? Anyone who's played football, right? You're always going to come up against someone who's bigger than you. But how do you defend those situations? You get as tight as possible, physical, and trying to affect their run. And if you can do that, then then you blame the system then afterwards. But the fact he fell asleep and watched that flick on goal to the back post and the header was made, it's oh, there it is.
Hey, bro, that sound is crazy. Oh, shit. Let's see.
Yeah, so Zinchenko can't get it for me. He wasn't even that great in possession either and trying to break. He was important for the first goal when Martinelli scored. He played that ball through to Ødegaard, that line breaking pass, and then Ødegaard through to Saka, whipped in. Martinelli scored, but we didn't see it enough. So Zinchenko, alongside Ramsdale, and I'd probably say 3 other players were below their level in this game.
Nah, fair enough. Zinni was awful, says Bailey. Southpaw said scared me to death. You got to yourself, Mohammed, bro.
Why have you got yours first? Do you know what I mean? In an emergency, I'd be done now. Yeah,
bro, stop complaining, bro. I didn't even get one.
You have to be a part of certain things, bro, for you to get there.
Yeah.
If you watch a film Greenland, you know.
Trust me, bro.
Who's going left-sided centre back?
Gabriel played there for you, like,
yeah, Gabriel played. So is that Gabriel and
we say left side?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Gabriel, not really at fault for any of the goals for me. And I thought he actually played quite well. When we were down, he was the one trying to give us a bit of attacking impetus, try to play the ball through. And going forward, he's not as bad as he's not as bad. No one said he's bad at all, but he's better than what I thought. And Yeah, and I'd give Gabriel. Yeah, I'd say Gabriel played a good game. Who played left side for you? Was it Virgil?
Virgil.
I
was
think
he.
I think looking because I watched both games, I think
Mm.
that it's almost like pretty similar in terms of performances.
Mm.
I think Gabriel offered a bit more to Arsenal going forward in the game, especially the fact that they were down so
Yeah.
early in the game. So I probably put Gabriel in there, but not because Virgil had a bad game. I just think Gabriel done more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he was required to do a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hear that. There he is.
Oh, did I miss him or is he?
Yeah, but in between Ramsdale and Xhaka, go down. There he is.
Oh, there he is. Big man Brazilian in there.
Yeah.
Is it light work then for the right sided centre back?
Easy all day long.
To be fair, in the game, yeah, he had so much to do. I didn't rate him as high because I just thought there was a couple of moments where he got himself not bullied, but he came up, he matched against someone that was as strong as him or agile as him and was on the game as well. I think you said it as well, Savage. You saw them like fist bumping or like slapping each other, like, yeah, this was a good game. Next one, I'll get you next. Next one, we'll get you next. Like they were on it, both sides. But yeah, man, he's cold.
Do you know who we both? You know, our opponent. Do you know who I think both of us should be looking at as like a backup to our right-sided centre back? Bella Kotchap. I think
that's what I said.
Did you?
I've been saying it all season, bro.
Bella Kotchap. I think he'd be perfect for how we play in terms of his athleticism. To be,
you don't want him and Ibu next to each other, bro, to go forward for Liverpool. Imagine that, bro. Once Virgil's done, it's him and Ibu.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When Southampton go down, if we got Bella Kotchap as our holding replacement, I'm good. I'm happy because he wouldn't change too much of our system.
I think he's only 20.
What was that?
I think he's 20.
Yeah, 20, yeah, and he's a German international already.
Beast,
yeah, he's quality, man.
Right back, yeah, light work. That's what was your right back saying? He got an assist. I know that, but hard.
He weren't. I feel like his performances have dipped, you know, since the Liverpool game. I thought he was poor against you guys, Benjamin White, and he hasn't quite been at his consistent best. Second half, he was better, but yeah, it's Trent for me.
Yeah, Trent. No, he had a great game again. Wasn't as good as the Leeds game, but it was still good enough, and his crossing and his passing in the game was at a good level. Even his tackling was there as well. So. Yeah, Trent will get there. You know that you got a problem with man called him Benjamin. Man didn't even call him Ben White and said Benjamin White. He's not been impressed with it.
It's because of him as well. He's a weird guy, but I like him. So
he's definitely a weird guy, bro.
He is.
Trudon says ends look rang over that, bro. That I've never heard one, but I've only heard it in the movies, bro. So when I heard it, I was like,
"Oh, facts, bro. You're both right because I've only heard it in Greenland and Purge, bro."
Purge, man. That alert is mad. Yeah, I'm gonna go and do some research into that one still.
These men said they're testing it, so when we got floods in that area, they can tell us. I'm like, bro, we've been having floods my whole life, bro. How are you just sorting it now? We know what it's for, bro. We know that when Russia and China start attacking, you're trying to send man, but clearly they still don't care about me because you still got yours. My son just messaged me and said, "Did you get that alert thing?" And I'm just sitting here, me and Pablo about to die, bro. No one cares, bro.
It's true, man. It's true. It's based on colorism, I'm guessing. Yeah,
must be, bro, because we're in the same
it's gotta be.
Oh shit. 6. Who we putting in the 6? I think Partey had a shocker still.
Awful. He was shocking.
That was one of the worst games I've seen him, man.
Terrible. Awful game for Partey. So whoever played in your 6.
Hold on a minute. Are we saying that man like Fab got into one of these teams? Okay. We ain't got into one of these all season, bro. Love it, man.
Spurs score.
Do you know what? In terms of Fab's performance, I didn't give him a high rating on a player rating show, but if he got a yellow card, he would have missed the West Ham game and the Spurs game. And I think he just did his job. He just kind of went about his business quietly and did his job. I was probably looking for him to do a bit more, but because obviously we watched the Arsenal game, and I was like, yeah, Partey was worse than he was. So, yeah, man. Fab, well done, Fab, for making it into the combined 11 for the weekend. What are you saying, Savage?
What spot we on now?
Fab, innit? What did you think about his performance?
That was good, man. That was good. What about his work? Decent. just kept the ball over, recycling, decent tackles. Positioning was really good, which was good to see. And he didn't really get overrun in the midfield, which is usually the problem with him. I don't think he can get better at that part of the game at this point in his career. I think that for some of our players, I think for like people like Fab and Hendo, they can't get better than what they've ever been. They can maintain a level, they can do a level off the bench, but whatever we see of them, they're not going to get better. So I have to just rate them on what they are at the moment, and that's what he gets for me. Yeah, he was good, man. He was decent. True, don't just say Spurs are back in it, bro. 5-1, back in it, you know, bro. I think he's getting smoked up as well, Bournemouth, bro.
Yeah, West Ham.
Yeah.
You know, bounce back. We gave him life again.
all the same goal scorers from the last game in the Europa League.
We got to play them as well on Wednesday, bro. So we need them to, you know. But
Antonio's going to do the same thing. What happened against Canate this weekend in the week, bro?
Yeah,
the exact same thing, bro.
Right side of the three. Who we going?
Ooh.
Put Odegaard down. No?
Yeah. Yeah. Once again, same. Like I thought he was brilliant, and I thought he was good in the first half, and then until the final minutes in the second half, I thought he wasn't really having much of an effect. But he kept trying, and he kept persisting even when it weren't working out. And
his goal was cold, bro.
Yeah.
That's what you want from your attacking midfielder. When it's not quite going to plan, don't hide. Do not hide. Just keep trying to go. Keep trying to play. Keep trying to find those passes. And it worked. He took that shot. And my word, that last 10 minutes from the 88th minute, he was unplayable from then. Like he flicked a switch and he was like, I'm dragging us back into this, which is why Arsenal fans were so mad when Partey took that shot, when he had Erdegaard right. And Erdegaard was pretty good, in that final 10.
5 minutes extra in that game, you definitely win it. I could see it a mile off, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was like watching one of the Man City games when they start coming back. But Odegaard for me, bro, like he's gonna be player of the season for me. Odegaard, he's been cold, man.
Yeah, because I think Haaland still falls into the young player bracket, so he might.
Good.
Yeah, I think he still falls into it. Might be wrong, but he might still fall into it. But yeah, it's out of them two. This season. And Saka is a big shout as well, but I think you can't look past Haaland, bro. This guy's got 54 GAs.
And if they win the league as well, I think it should go to who wins the league, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what will happen, isn't it? Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Left-sided of the three.
So it's not going to be Fabio Vieira.
Trossard played it.
Yeah, Fabio Vieira had 56 minutes in. Not good enough at all. Yeah, not ready at this level. Who played there for you? Because Trossard came on, he did well in that period.
It's out of Curtis or Thiago for us, and they both had a good game. So
you give it to your man still. Yeah.
Trossard was good when he come on, though. Really good.
Yeah.
We give it to
Joe. Weirdo, man. I don't think Trossard's a real person, bro. This man's an NPC, bro. Have you seen his face, bro? He looks like a Tim Burton
like a cyborg, don't he?
He does, ain't it?
Bro, you know them Tim Burton animated cartoons, bro? He looks like one of them. Coraline and that, bro. He looks like one of them.
No emotion at all, either.
None, bro. None.
Savage, are we giving it to Jones or Thiago?
And Jones played most of the match, I guess, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Hey, I would ask you a question on Curtis Jones. Has he got a future, do you think?
Liverpool?
Yeah.
Because it's mad. Because when I speak to other Liverpool fans, they talk about him like he's a banter player, like he's Scott McTominay.
He doesn't really play. The way Liverpool fans talk about him is if he plays a lot, he doesn't even play that much because he's had really bad injuries. But if I'm honest, bro, I think he's got a future going forward. But sometimes you can see that a player might not be, depending on transfers, won't be the starter. But it's still good enough to be part of the squad, and I need good players in the squad for different aspects and that. So I think he's good enough in that. He's got to learn some stuff about himself on the pitch and have a bit more confidence. Yeah. That's all it takes. But I get it, man. When we're playing so bad, they're less like risk averse because they're like, listen, I don't want to mess anything up. We're already really bad. Him in a Liverpool thriving team playing really well, he'll take a few more chances then, and you'll see the best of him. But I'm here for it, man.
This one's gonna hold conversation. Who goes on the right hand side? Sorry.
Ooh. I thought Saka and Martinelli were both our best players in that game. In the week, because Saka was causing Perraud so many issues on that side, and but the fact both fullbacks got a yellow card in the first half kind of showed it. and he tried his best to drag the team. And in the second half, in the first half, it felt like everything was going down our left, and I was like, let's go use the right more. And in the second half, it was all going down our right, and was like, let's get Martinelli back in the game more. So it was definitely our wingers. Saka scored, goal and assist. Well, you know, that's the Salah scored as well, though, didn't he?
Yeah, and he played what, bro? He was on it, cooking.
Do you know what? I'm happy because you won the game. I'm happy to give it to Salah. You know, when you win the game, you get the edge.
Do you know what? I'm
going to pick Saka still.
I'm going to pick Saka for that position because I think he deserves to get in there.
Yeah,
I think
him running to the byline and the way he played towards the end of that game when you lot were trying to get that, brother. That him and Martinelli are unbearable in that situation, bro. Even thinking, man, I'll say like Reece Nelson always causes a problem when he comes on the pitch, man. He just gets himself in the box, and I'm like, bro, where did he come from? I see him run on the pitch as a sub. I'm like, okay, Arteta's brought him on now. Surely he ain't brought him on to try and win the game. But then I just see him in the box causing havoc, bro. I was like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, and that's it. And one more thing I wanted to put on Trossard. Did you see that pass he played through to Jesus through the legs? Through the legs of James Ward-Prowse, so there's a big gap in between. That is crazy. Like, and that's where Reece Nelson got the shot off and drew the save, and then Saka was able to score. Now Reece Nelson's got some he's got the Origi gene. That's what he's got.
Yeah, he does, man. He does, man. He's a problem. Man.
When he starts, he ain't great, but when he comes off the bench, he's got he can do something.
As a striker, who goes up front?
Jesus report.
It's got to be Diogo in it.
Yeah.
Nah, but Diego played on the left though. Didn't play as a striker.
Oh, that's awkward.
That's the issue. So
very awkward.
I think if Jesus didn't play well, Salah probably then gets in.
Salah?
Nah, you got to put Diogo, man.
Salah didn't play in the middle.
Nah, but he's the other in terms of their performance of their front three. He performed.
No, but I just thought that you just put that out because the positioning. Because
I think because the only reason why because I think Saka got a goal and an assist, but then if I look at Arsenal, Jesus was null and void. But Salah played well enough to be in this team.
But then you're going to take out Martinelli or Jota. Do you get me?
That's what I was thinking because I would have
got 2 goals, bro. One won the game, son.
I would have put Martinelli and Jota in.
Yeah, same. Martinelli and Jota.
If you're saying that you can't put Jota in because he didn't play for the middle, but how can you not put Jota in because he didn't play for the middle? But Salah did.
But Salah. So what? How many goals did Martinelli get? 1.
Yeah, 1.
Yeah, so did Salah, and they both played well for their teams. But one won the game, one was a match winner, and one wasn't.
Nah, so let's be honest, man. Martinelli played way better than
Bro,
Salah.
I'm just come on, man.
No, Martinelli. He was dragging our team.
Every single time Salah got the ball, bro, he was trying to create or cause a problem.
If I had to rate the Arsenal and Liverpool team for the whole weekend, I would have put Jota, Trent, Martinelli, and then everyone else after them. That's literally what I would.
Because it's a vote, obviously I can't do nothing about it. Just my opinion is there. I think that's the only reason why, because I think Saka deserves to get in there based on obviously got goal and assist, but then I can't overlook how well Salah played. In my opinion, I think he played better than Martinelli, and he got us the winner.
I think Martinelli was better than Saka though. But Martinelli was their best player.
Yeah, I'd say because look in the second half when Jesus missed that chance where he should have scored. What a ball that was by Martinelli. That inside cross. We forget once again. We forget that because Jesus didn't put the ball in the back of the net. Martinelli did the best he could and everything he could to try and impact that game. Martinelli, he has to get in, and I think Diogo does as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel right not putting Martinelli in the squad at all, bro. Because
typing us. No, that's all right. I got outvoted, bro. Democracy, it's all good. There he is. Big up to Gabriel Martinelli, and then we're saying Jota through the middle. Then, yeah,
definitely, yeah. That team, that team would slap, man. Oh.
Yeah, that team's cold still.
Yeah,
and that's missing some, good players in there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to combine, man. Liverpool, Arsenal do a super against this Man City super team. Do you know what I mean? You have to do Avengers. You get me?
Try to take the months. Yeah, bro. We might have to, bro. When the Power Rangers started morphing, bro, man, had to join together.
It's a problem, yeah, because I thought like, oh yeah, they played yesterday, so you know they could be tired for the Arsenal, bruv. They played in third gear yesterday, bruv.
Yeah.
They just give the ball to Mahrez and let him do everything, bruv. It's horrible, bruv.
Taking
I
a
know.
piss, bro.
And they had Jack Grealish. He was like, I'm just not going to take anyone on today. I'm just going to
No one.
chill. Yeah,
No one. I'm just gonna chill, bruv.
yeah. Rest my legs up for this Arsenal game.
Bruyne didn't play, Bruyne. He was on the bench.
On the bench,
I told my boy
Diaz.
that's what they was gonna do. They were just gonna rest bare man.
What, bruv?
So when they come against Arsenal, their man they're just fresh, just running. Who's managing the team? Is it Klopp or Arteta?
Klopp, because Arteta with some errors in decision making. I wouldn't have started Fabio Vieira. He had to change that. I'd have brought on Nelson earlier as well. I'd have went full throttle when we were 3-1 down way before earlier than that. And Partey, I think he should have took Partey off and put Jorginho on at some point. Partey was having a nightmare throughout. And in those situations, yeah, I understand why you want him on, because when there's big open spaces, you trust Partey more than Jorginho in a transition. But this game wasn't a transition game in the second half. Southampton just literally sat at the back when they brought Lianco on. They had one attack, which was from their corner, and look what happened. So, yeah, Klopp gets it for me. Well, and Klopp's changed, you know, with Trent in that midfield, addressing that issue and making you guys look much more threatening going forward. Yeah, man. Klopp.
All right, then from a Liverpool standpoint, then so that combined 11 we got. Klopp is the new manager, which is cold. Trent gets in at right back. Obviously Robbo gets in at left back. Kanate centre back pairing with Gabriel, but I don't have him. Apologies. Fab in the 6, which is cold like that still. Then you've got Odegaard as the 8 on the right hand side. And then we had, who was the other one? Curtis, wasn't it? Curtis goes in on the left hand side of the 8, which is cold. Good. And then you had Saka on the right hand side. You had Jota through the middle. And then you had Martinelli out on the left hand side. It's cold. Yeah. Good team, man. Good team.
I know.
Comments cold still.
I know. It's the team. They all got turkey teeth as well. You know what I mean? I feel like most of the man have got good teeth.
Yeah. What's crazy? Jota's got more goals in 2 games than Anthony and Sancho in the entire season. He's crazy. 1 goal behind Grealish and raw.
Awkward.
Not the conversation you want to be having still. But listen, big up. That's a great show. That was episode 2 of the afternoon show. Just a new thing I thought I'd bring to the people. Big up to Savage as always, man. Always supporting the team, bro. Appreciate you taking the time. Big up to Tereak as well. Big up to yourself, man, taking the time out of your day as well. And big up to Fran as well from Golazzo. Big up to her, man. She had to jump out earlier, but big up to her for taking the time out as well, jumping on the show. Listen, we're going to bring this show more often. So we're going to try and get different fan bases on and try and gather a couple of the top guys together as well. And see if we can bring an afternoon show and we can chop it up. If we get another fan base on here, maybe a Man City fan, whatever it may be, a Chelsea fan, when we come to the end of the show, we do the combine based off of the performances over the weekend. Should be interesting to see what players get in because this was quite fun. Last time we did this, Tereak, what was it? Maybe 2 Liverpool players got in.
Yeah.
And we had to fight for those 2.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When we did it. I know, man. Times change. This is football, man. Things can change ever so quickly.
Hey, listen. Big up to you, man, and big up to Fran. You're the only 2 Arsenal fans I like at the moment in terms of wanting them to win the title. Big up to your fan bases as well. But
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. Apart from you guys, the rest of your fan base stinks, bro. I can't even lie.
I know. I agree, though. I don't like the volatility with Arsenal fans.
Listen, man. You man trying to tell me that Saka is your front line is better than the Barcelona front line of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, and them crazy things. Saka is better than Salah, but Salah's GA is better than it stinks, bro. Look, I understand the kid has a bright future and he will be better than him eventually. Yeah. But come on, man. Respect the king. All times, but respect him.
I think that's well said. From you, man.
Respect the king, man, because sometimes it's crazy. I think reactionary fans are out there always saying, yeah, this man's better than this man. I'm like, bro, he's only done it for a year. Respect the man that's been doing it for 5 seasons consistently. Yeah, without a drop-off. And even with his drop-off, he's still hitting mad numbers. So we have to respect it nonetheless, man. But listen, guys, big up to the guys from your channels as well, man. That's jumped in and supported the team today as well. Listen, guys, I think I've gained another 6 subscribers. Big up to you guys. Can't see all of them, but shout out to all of you guys that's obviously subscribed to the channel. Road to that 700, man. So let's see what happens, man. Tereak and Savage and Fran, big up to yourselves as always. Big up to the guys in the comments. And
come on, man. You have to get ends that big 7 before the season ends. That number's special for the season, ain't it, lads?
Hey, listen,
you know, Man United. Let's get the 7s in. Eddie.
Big up for the 7, bro. Listen, there's still 13 of you in here. Remember to smash the subscribe button on Tereak's channel, obviously Savage's channel as well. The guy's got a lot of channels out there, guys. Go and support these man as well. As much as you've supported me. And also like the video, man. Share it to your people. What do you guys think about it? Because we did one with just me and Savage. People loved it, so we thought we'd bring it back with some Arsenal fans as well. But big up to everyone as always. Tereak, respect. Savage, respect.
Come on, bro. Peace out, man.